options in every single spot, which is interesting. But we'll talk about some of those things. And I do want to start to get into, because a week from today, free agency opens up. We are 5 days away from everybody being able to tamper all over the country. You can tamper with anything you want. You can tamper with locks. You can tamper with bank locks. You can tamper with whatever it might be. It is across the country, the purge, legal tampering for 2 days.
They stop tempering glass and they tamper glass.
That's exactly right. Tamper down over there, okay? So we'll be tampering legally for 2 days next week, and free agency will be going on a week from today. So what we're going to do is put together in the 11 o'clock hour maybe 4 or 5 of a free agent wish list that is realistic, okay? It's not a free agent wish list of Trey Hendrickson and George Pickens and Jalen Phillips and re-sign Watson and Cook and Chanel, and that's my wish list, is that they get everybody they could. No, a realistic wish list for the Chiefs in free agency, 4 or 5 different players. We're going to look specifically and strictly outside of the Kansas City Chiefs, because it could be, Jalen Watson, Brian Cook. Yes, we know there are players that we may want the Chiefs to re-sign, but start to introduce some names that the Chiefs may be talking to next week, or at least that we'd like to see them talk to this upcoming Monday. 913-912-4810 is the text line to join us, 913-912-4810. So, senior nights are tough to go on the road and play at those particular arenas, because you do have to match the energy. You'd have to play well. Let's start with college basketball last night. We'll start with KU. Then we'll get into MU. But it feels like it's roughly the same conversation with both of these teams, except for the fact that, Bill Self said, a week and a half ago, whatever it was, in talking with Myron Metcalf when we had him on 2 weeks ago after he had that long, reporting and piece that he did at ESPN, when he was around KU for a few days and around Darren Peterson, talked to his camp, talked to everybody. And Bill Self said, yeah, we've got enough time to figure this thing out. We've got enough time. They are quickly running out of roadway. They are running out of room for them to land the plane. And the runway is quickly, you see the end of it pretty fast. This season has gone from, you got 3 weeks, you got a game. You got a game on Sunday, senior night for Darren Peterson and others, but senior night on Saturday against Kansas State, and then you're guaranteed 2 more games. So you're guaranteed the rest of the way for KU 3 more games. And after Saturday is when it matters, and this is a 2-4 team since that Arizona game without Darren Peterson. Now, whether it's Darren Peterson or not, I thought they looked, at least as a group, I know offensively they couldn't hit open shots, and it's the same thing that happened at Arizona in back-to-back games. But this did not look to me like oh, wow, they are just looking around waiting for somebody else to, like, Darren Peterson, go save us. Oh, Darren, just do this. So, in an odd way, the last couple of games, it's at least looked like Darren Peterson has the burst and the jump and is playing in more of a cohesive grouping with the offense. Yet, it's a team offensively that is sinking fast, and how quickly they're falling across the country in what their offensive numbers are. Currently, right now, this is the 4th worst effective field goal percentage team in the Bill Self era. The 4th worst. But if you look at how other teams have played along the way, that's just percentage-wise. But if you look at relative to your peers in college basketball, this is the lowest ranked they've ever been in college basketball in effective field goal percentage. They're ranked 156 this year.
It's like an OPS plus.
Yeah, I mean, because with the three-point shot, effective field goal percentage is going to go up more and more, because the three-point shot affects effective field goal percentage a lot. I'm a big proponent of effective field goal percentage. It's the 4th worst ever in the Bill Self era. And they're dropping in offensive efficiency. And since the BYU game, KU is in the mid-90s in offensive efficiency in the country. That's a real surprising stat because of the players that they have and what I thought this team would be offensively when Darren Peterson could offer the different things that he does, Melvin Council getting out and running, Trey White offering different dynamic areas, Bryson Tiller doing some different things that he can do. But it is a team offensively that is heading in the wrong direction, and it's a team overall that's heading in the wrong direction. And last night seemed to be like the culmination of that. And maybe it was a Bill Self overly frustrated. Maybe it was Bill Self saying, I don't give a bleep, give me a technical. It was clearly a foul on Arizona State.
Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty obvious a foul on Ford and not on Darren Peterson. And the foul was called on Darren Peterson, and Bill Self, rightfully, I think in that moment, got upset, lost his mind, was out of the box. And we see it all the time with officials. I miss a call, you get mad at me, so now I'm going to tech you. I'm going to tee you up. I'm going to give you a tech because you got mad at me and yelled at me because I missed a call, which was a pretty obvious miss on the call. Therefore, I'm going to tee you up. It happened in the Missouri game with Porter Moser, and it happened in this one. Here's how it sounded. This clip number 1, Michael, is the TV audio of how it sounded and how quickly it went from foul call to ejection for Bill Self last night on the TV broadcast.
Matchup for Bryce Ford going against Darren Peterson. Ford's been battling a hip flexor. And now we've got a whistle and a foul. That's going the other way. Oh, wow. It's on Peterson, who got tangled up with Bryce Ford. First on Peterson, 4th team foul. And Bill Self is hot. And now Bill Self has been teed up and I believe ejected from the game. There has been an ejection. Doug Sherman's pointed towards the locker room.
Unbelievable.
I believe a double technical and an ejection of Kansas head coach Bill Self.
Well, watch beneath. It's just an option for Darren Peterson to come off screens either way. He tries to go to his left, but Bryce Ford just will not let Darren Peterson move. That is a foul on Bryce Ford. And you have to allow freedom of movement, and Bill Self has publicly talked about it, allowing Peterson to move off the ball, and Coach Self was very upset. He came all the way across half court onto the floor for the first technical.
And it was rapid fire.
It was.
Bang, bang, ejection. Even Bobby Early, I think, is like, how is that a thing?
Well, but Kevin, I just don't know how that's not a foul on Bryce Ford.
Right. What a turn of events here.
So it was a quick tech, the second one from Doug Sermons, who does really enjoy himself.
Well, then he teed up Vaughn later in the game as well.
Right.
By the way, shout out Arizona State arena workers for getting the fire or the smoke
when
as,
Bill Self was leaving the
it's
arena.
It's like the entrance, but on the exit. That was pretty funny.
That was a chef's kiss for them.
Yeah.
And KU fan, MU fan, K-State fan, basketball fan, it was like, you know what? I appreciate that. That's
kinda
pretty
funny.
good if you're there and in that moment on senior night. But this is that call specifically, whether we, agree with the tech and the double tech and what Doug Sermons, means to himself and all of that stuff. This is something that's bothered me in college basketball with college basketball officiating is you make a point of emphasis. You get annoyed at what's going on in basketball, and you want to make a point of emphasis, yet then you allow those players to do what you say you are going to be refereeing and officiating against. We want freedom of movement. Players should be allowed to run on offense around screens and have freedom of movement without defenders pulling, pushing, or blocking them from getting around like we used to see 2000-aught Big East games that were wrestling matches. You would just hold the guy down low. The guy's getting ready to choose which screen he's coming off, and the guy would just wrap him up. And it was like you're trying to get around the screen. It was like, yep, but you know what? Not really a foul. He doesn't have the ball. It's like, well, yeah, that's why it's 42-40. with a minute to play is because we don't have freedom of movement in college basketball. And they make a point of emphasis to increase freedom of movement. And Bill Self has talked about this specific point about freedom of movement, and especially with Darren Peterson, how they run him off screens, have options, which way to go, inside, outside, depending on the defender. Let him make those choices. And when a guy is standing there blocking him in his way and
shoving him
as well.
I mean, it was...
That is a foul because, by the way, in the Mizzou and Oklahoma game, Jacob Cruz and the Oklahoma defender were doing the same thing. Boop, foul, Oklahoma.
Yep.
Because you're not allowed to do that defensively. But you want to eliminate, I should say, the fouls so you have more freedom of movement, yet then you give the benefit to the defense that's not allowing that. And the same thing then in the Mizzou-Oklahoma game where you want to eliminate flopping. We need to get flopping out of the game.
Yeah.
And Sean Phillips touches the guy's jaw. And he flies backwards. And you're able to go and show the slow motion replay and still elevate it to an F1 because the guy, his jaw was touched. I mean, he didn't hit him. He moves his arm. The jaws, and the guy flies backwards, and because he flies backwards, Sean Phillips is still trying to, gain position, so his arm goes over his head, and it's elevated to an F1. Okay, so we need to really focus on freedom of movement. Oop, foul on Darren Peterson. Oop, tech, Bill Self. Double tech, Bill Self. We need to get flopping out of the game. Oh, that elevates to an F1 because he touched his jaw, and the guy... just acted like he had just been punched in the face or like he was in the Matrix now. That's how far he flew back and embellished the whole thing. Like, this is an issue that I have with officiating. Don't tell me what you want to focus on and what you want to legislate out of the game and then reward the team for doing those things that you say you want to legislate out of the game.
I've said many times, it's crazy to me that I think NBA refs are the best refs of any organization and college basketball refs are the worst refs of any organization. It's like they're completely reffing two different sports. It blows my mind, the inconsistencies. Bill Self, you know me, man, Mizzou alum here. He should not have been ejected. He was completely in the right. I love the fact that after he got ejected, he brought two of the refs over and said, I'm a bad lip reader here.
Oh, yeah.
So bad lip reader, but my interpretation was he smiles, looks at them both, and goes, you both are so full of bleep.
Ship.
And then
so you are full of ship.
And then walked out.
I think he meant that they were sailors, right? Like they were like pirates or something. You are so full of ship. You over there, you're both so full of ship. That's what I read.
And then seeing Bobby Hurley's reaction of like, dude, how did you throw him out? Like,
what are we doing?
He was almost more upset for Bill that he got tossed. But I do wonder, part of me does still wonder, did Bill do one of those managers in baseball where it's like, hey, I'm going to yell at you. You're going to toss me here. I need to get my guys going.
I don't think that was that last night.
I don't think so.
No way.
But KU came out so flat, he needed to try and get something happening because that was, I thought Mizzou was bad the first half offensively. Somehow Kansas was worse. And I also wonder, was this hey, Darren, I got your back?
I think the technical probably was that.
Yeah, the first one, not getting tossed.
There's
but
no problem with the first one.
But was there a situation of, you know what, Darren, we hear this in the media. We've seen fans talk about you. I have your back. Freedom of movement. I'm your guy. You're my player. I'm your coach. I got you.
Well, I would say, too, that really in the last 4 to 5 games, I would say, he has gotten an egregious whistle, really. I mean, I would say that the way that they have gone about defending him is, I mean, I guess you could say is physical and aggressive. But last night, there's a difference in base guarding somebody and wrapping your arms around somebody and not allowing them to go forward and then sticking your hands up in the air and acting like he's pushing off. Now, I will say this, and we all know Doug Sermon's been a loser, and he's always been a loser. He's terrible, and he's just always about me. You go and look at the video. Yeah. He comes from across the court when the one official's handling it face-to-face and then gives him a second tee and ejects him. If that official is not giving the second technical, you've got no right to come over there. But I also would say this. Doug Sermon doesn't do that if that game's in Lawrence. He's feeding off the crowd. Everybody's getting loud when Bill Self's on the court. He thought this was my moment to say, you're not going to do this on my floor. I'm going to eject you, and therefore everybody in this crowd's going to love me. Now, Bill Self said that it was not his intention to get ejected. In that moment, down 11 or 9 or whatever it was, I mean, that's a pretty big swing. Now you're going from a single-digit game to 4 free throws and the ball, and now you're not coaching anymore.
And you're in the bonus if you're Arizona State, like one fell away with the last 10 minutes of the first half. You're in the bonus already?
It's something where he might have been saying, I want to have Darren Peterson's back here. Because really, I said the last couple of games, I think all season long, he's got an absolutely terrible whistle. And usually you see with star players like that, they'll be favored because guys, the way they defend him, and you'll see when he's coming off of ball screens, when he's going to get a handoff, they are right in front of him, not allowing that freedom of movement. And I would say that 8 out of 10 times, there's holding of the jersey, and it's never called. And maybe it's because he's not as explosive right now, where maybe if you are more explosive, it gets seen, where there's a jersey hold, there's a hack on the arm. He's not moving as quickly as maybe we all thought he would have. Therefore, these players are able to get away with certain things. Now, maybe it's brilliant coaching, too, of saying, hey, get really close on him, stick your hands up in the air. He's going to do something out of frustration to warrant an offensive foul or to force a bad shot. And that last night, it was a bad call. Was it the reason they lost? Was it a bad whistle all night? I mean, you can say what you want to there, but KU also shot 29%. They were horrible at taking care of the ball. I would say more than anything, the biggest issue for Kansas, they are getting nothing from their bigs.
Yep.
Nothing from the front court. Flory Badunga, despite a double-double, that's as bad as I've seen him play since coming to KU. Bryson Tiller, you can make a damn good argument as well.
Yeah, I think, and the point you made there of, we're talking about the ejection because that was one of the big stories of last night's game and what happened that led to the ejection. And just my general frustration of don't tell me you're going to legislate something out of the game and then reward somebody for doing what you say you're going to legislate out of the game. That's a big frustration with last night in a couple of calls, but it is not the reason that KU or Mizzou ended up losing their games. It was a game in which, I mean, we can take both of the teams and look at it and go, they both sort of no-showed. Not even sort of, they both no-showed last night to start the game. They both showed up with no energy for the other team's senior night, and that is not going to be a recipe for success. And for KU, it's now 2-4 since the Arizona win. You're sitting in the mid-90s offensively in the last 3-4 weeks in the country. It's the 4th worst effective field goal percentage in Bill Self's tenure at Kansas. Lowest ranked he's ever had at Kansas. Offensively, you're not scoring, and the best KU teams were the ones that could score at will and put points on the board. It's tough to win games if you're not doing that because they lost a game in which they held the opposition to, 32% shooting? And they lost that game? That's difficult to do, and I think the most difficult thing I might have ever seen in a stat happened last night in the KU game. I'm not sure it's possible to have 25 offensive rebounds and 6 second chance points. I'm not sure that was humanly possible to do, to have 25 offensive rebounds and 6 second chance points. That's as crazy of a stat as you will ever see. And as the game's going along, you're like, okay, that's like their 12th. They're just not getting points off of these. They're missing shots or they're turning the ball over. Like, what's going on? But that's where, to Jack's point, the big men on the floor, you're getting offensive rebounds. And Job had something to do with it. He was playing some really good defense, but you're not getting those putbacks. You dominate the offensive rebound. Those have to result in points. They typically do. They typically result in some scrambles and an open three.
Well, they got some looks, and Darren Peterson was 3 of 18. I don't know what's more surprising. You get 25 offensive rebounds and lose, or Darren Peterson going 3 of 18 from the field. I don't think we ever expected to see that from Darren.
You got 25 offensive rebounds, and Arizona State shot 32% from the floor. Okay. KU wins and covers. Not only does KU win, they cover the 6.5.
Probably win by 15 to 20.
Yeah.
I mean, it just the amount of missed bunnies last night too from guys that are over 6'8" is
it was amazing.
It's jarring. And the one moment to me that it wasn't even on the offensive side that lost them the game, you can go back and I'm sure there was a big run Arizona State had. It was a 2-point game, and Bryson Tiller twice has a ball. He's rebounding it, gets knocked out. Arizona State gets it, wide open three, misses, gets the ball, knocked out, thrown off him out of bounds. What happens out of the timeout? Some 35-foot three-pointer goes in, and Kansas never really recovered from that. It's things like that.
And then it was followed up by a front-end miss of a one-and-one.
Yes.
By Tiller.
Hey, just you look at this team, and yes, they've had very high highs when beating Arizona at home, beating Houston, beating Iowa State. On the road, they're absolutely terrible. And I don't care how you thought the whistle was. I don't care how you thought your best players played. To me, if KU capitalized on what? Maybe 5 or 6 of those buckets on offensive rebounds, they win this game comfortably. And that can't happen. And that's not even a team that's that much bigger than you.
Where's for you, Jack, and you, Michael, one game left, Kansas State. I think they'll take care of business, even though Kansas State got the win last night. Kansas State's
who would have thought that?
Kansas State's on a longer winning streak than both Mizzou and Kansas, so take that, Columbia and Lawrence. But KU K-State on Saturday, and then the postseason, they could be the 3 seed or the 5 seed. Kansas can. Mizzou can be the 3 seed or the 10, and everywhere in between. It's amazing. There's a number of different results on Saturday that Mizzou could be the 3 or the 10. I think KU is going to end up being the 3 because I don't think Texas Tech goes to BYU and wins on a 9:30 Central Time tip.
Senior day, too.
Senior day for BYU. I know Richie Saunders, but Texas Tech loses last night at home to TCU, and that was their senior day, and they lost. But regardless, is there, or where at, maybe it's a 0, maybe it's a 10, on sort of the panic meter of what you thought the team could be when they were winning 8, 9 games in a row. And it's like, okay, now you start to get Darren Peterson in the mix. He can drop 35 at any given time. This team started slow in the Big 12. Now they figured it out. They're heading in the right direction. Beat Arizona without Darren Peterson. That's how good this team can be. 2-4 since then. And, double-digit losses, double-digit wins and losses every single game since then. Where do they come in on the quote-unquote panic meter for you, Jack, and you, Michael, with one more regular season game left?
I don't want to be overly dramatic because, also road environments can make you play a little bit worse, and that was as bad as I've seen them look all year. But how can it not be a 9 or a 10, with 9 or 10 being the worst? I mean, that was their opportunity to clinch the 3 spot in the Big 12 tournament, which avoids Iowa State and Arizona. I mean, you would have had a much easier path to then locking in a 3 seed and maybe having the ceiling of a 2 seed. And you've seen them get significantly worse when you usually see the great Bill Self teams play their best basketball. And I don't want to hear it about, it's tough to travel to Arizona. They stayed there after playing on Saturday in Tucson. They've got glaring issues with this team. They are not good with their front court right now, and that's where I thought they would have been shining late in the year because Flory's getting better, Bryson Tiller's getting better, Darren Peterson's getting more comfortable. That's as bad as I've seen any KU team look in the last 3 to 4 years, and that's saying something. But in terms of what their ceiling would be, if you're not at a 9 or a 10, I would love to hear why not, why you think things could be different, because I watched the way Florida plays and Duke plays in Michigan. You're not celebrating getting to the Sweet 16. This is about getting to the Final Four and winning it all. And if those two teams were to play right now, if they were to play Florida, they would lose by 20 like they did to Arizona. If they played Michigan, they lose by 20. They played Duke, they lose by 20. And I don't know that beating K-State, even if it was by 150 points, it does not change anything.
That would be a record.
That'd be impressive.
That would be a record.
You know what? That would change things, Jack. If they won by 150.
There would be some other stuff going on. But in Kansas City, if you beat Iowa State and you lose to Arizona, or you beat Arizona, I mean, is it the home crowd you'll have in Kansas City, or is it just that you're getting a team that's a little bit more worn down? I don't really know. But to me, if this was January, panic levels at a 5, a 4, It's March, 4th or 5th?
Yep, March 4th.
How much different are they going to be? I mean, I feel it's kind of the delusion that we all do as fans of, well, it'll be different this time, right? Just, let's get to the tournament and it'll be different. We all can think that. But sometimes 30 games, a sample size like that, they're telling you who they are. And last night, I mean, that's a tough thing just to erase with how awful they looked in the first half and how awful they looked in the final 2 minutes of that game.
Yeah, it's like a delusion of fans when it comes to the tournament. You see the bracket and you're going, I can see a path for this team. Like Sterling last year guaranteed Mizzou's win over Drake. I'm going back and putting the bracket of sound together for this year. So it started with the bracket being released. So that
Sterling
first week listening to
I was thrilled.
Sterling was like, I don't know why.
I think I said it too.
Was this where the Sterling stamp originated?
Started it? No, Sterling guaranteed a 15-point win. Sterling was like, I don't care what anybody's talking about. Mizzou wins by 15 in this game. Stop with the talk. Oh, Drake this, Drake that, Drake this, Drake that. They've got the better athletes, the better players on the floor. I don't care. They're going to win by 15. Shut up.
Fact. That did sound like. What happened? Did they win by 15?
They did not. But I think that's where, it's a joke, obviously, at your expense, Sterling. But I think a lot of people, I picked them to beat Drake, right? And it was like, can they beat Texas Tech in that one? I think every fan base can say, here's the path to go to the Sweet 16 or the Elite 8 or the Final Four for my team. So I get that point of when you say sort of that delusion of sort of fan base that comes in. Michael, where's the panic meter for you?
I think Jack said it perfectly. It's got to be
Cool.
a 9
All right,
or
we'll go to
10.
break.
It's got to be a 9 or 10 because this team, and check me if I'm wrong, the best moments from this season have come when Darren Peterson is not on the court. When they beat Arizona, the second half against BYU, I guess the first half against BYU was better than the second, but all of the marquee wins have come when Darren Peterson is not playing.
What's the main, if you say, boy, this is what I remember most about Darren Peterson, or the highlight? What's the highlight of Darren Peterson? Is it 3 free throws?
No, it's the dunk against BYU.
I'd say the first half of BYU or the go-ahead 3 against Texas Tech.
Okay. I didn't know, maybe it was like coming off the bench, getting fouled, hitting the 3 free throws to help the come from behind win. But I was going to say, so I'm glad you guys brought up other plays, because if that's the highlight, it even comes in the form of taking himself out of the game and having to go through cramps, hitting the free throws, and then not playing in overtime. But yeah, there have been some other ones as well. Continue.
Well, in the Texas Tech, I mean, they were going to lose that game to Tech. So, they kind of stole that one, and then they lost, I think, that very next week.
Yeah, that's a good call. Those 2 threes against Texas Tech were pretty legit.
Yeah.
That was
they
pretty
stole
high.
that game. They should not have beat Tech on the road. But I'd say it's a 9 or a 10. I think they've showed you who they are. And the bigger concern is I look at last night's game, and I think it was more of an indication that KU played poorly rather than Arizona won or Arizona State won, because did you see some of the shots that Arizona State was taking? I was like, why are you playing? Why are you?
They shot 32%.
Right,
they shot 32%.
And there's a reason. They're
Yeah.
taking contested threes,
Right.
fadeaways. Their bigs couldn't make anything inside. Like
Everything was a heat check.
It wasn't right. But it wasn't Norfolk State that shoots 25% from 3 and hit 13.
Yeah.
In a game, and it's like, good God, really? That's what happened in that game? It was Arizona State that shot 32%.
And they lost to that team because they couldn't
By
rebound
10.
and they couldn't take care of the basketball.
I mean, they couldn't finish on rebounds. I mean, they got 25 offensive rebounds and then can't even get the putbacks. It was a rough game. It was as bad as I've seen a Kansas team play in a long time. I didn't expect it to happen because I thought staying down in Arizona, it'd be different if Bill Self was like, no, it's not a Saturday, Monday. It's a Tuesday game. We're going to fly to Arizona. We're going to come back. We'll be back Sunday morning. Fine. We got all day Sunday. We got Monday. We'll fly out there Monday night. We'll play Tuesday. Not a big deal. Like, okay, wow, they didn't show in that first half. Maybe it was a little jet lag and being tired. They stayed there. You're acclimated to the time. You're ready to go. That tip. It should be 8 o'clock your body time. Ready to go. But that's not what happened. And they just went out there pretty lethargic. So, yeah, I would have a pretty high number at 9 or 10 for the panic meter for Kansas and what we thought this team could be, and saying, well, come on, man, this team needs to be second weekend. I think the second weekend, and then let's see the matchup. Well, we'll see if they get to the second weekend. And if they do, is there any confidence that they beat a 1 or 2 seed if they get to the second weekend and they're sitting in a Sweet 16? Because at best they're a 3 having to face a 2, probably a 4 having to face a 1 at this point.
Do we think that Bill Self was talking about the refs, or that the Missouri and Kansas were both full of
ship? I think their efforts were full of ship. That's probably what it was. We'll talk about the other game that started the effortless night for the local teams. More Zone next.
Well, for the local alumni, college basketball was buns last night, but I still had a lot of funs last night, because college basketball on FanDuel is elite and electric. College basketball, nonstop, big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. And now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger wins with a college basketball playoff profit boost. Here is how it works. Build any college hoops parlay you like, the early tip, the rivalry game, the ranked matchup, or the late-night West Coast shootout. Yeah, I love staying up late and watching West Coast basketball. I like falling asleep with it on my phone. I'm the idiot that has my phone pulled up because I'm like, I put something on FanDuel on this game. I'm going to stay up and watch it. I wake up, my phone is turned over, and I'm like, what happened? What happened? And then I wake up and immediately check FanDuel to see if I won. Super easy. Just mix spreads, totals, props, whatever it is that you have the read on the slate. Then just apply your profit boost and instantly bump up that potential payout. Go safe, go spicy, or go the team that you've been following all season long. It's your parlay, your style now, with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com/local to get started.
21 plus and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Minimum 2-leg parlay required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable boost builder tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amounts. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
All right, whether you like it or not, let's talk a little Missouri basketball.
I don't like it.
You know, an incredibly lethargic night for both teams, and I think it's the worst performance Missouri. Jack and Michael, and I think a lot of KU fans last night said that's one of the worst performances they've seen from a KU team in a while, not just this year, but in a number of years. I think that was the worst performance for this Mizzou team since the bragging rights game. I think it was just honestly, they were just simply going through the motions. And we talked about Missouri feeling like they were ascending and building game by game by game, and maybe they had gotten rid of, by going to Mississippi State and playing such a dominant game, that they had gotten rid of the Jekyll and Hyde, the play awesome, play terrible, play awesome, play terrible. They go to A&M and they win a great game. Buckyball, Buckyball was on fire last night against Kentucky. Buckyball was down 18. They won by 11. Like, they went on a 35-9 run against Kentucky last night. So they went to A&M, Missouri did, and they beat Texas A&M and lay an egg against Texas. And then take care of Vandy in a crazy, ending. And then lay an egg against Arkansas, to a degree. Just not play all that well. I mean, they scored 86 points. But
yeah, they were fighting.
It was okay.
I have no issue with the Arkansas
it was
game.
Okay. My issue was more T.O. Barrett laying an egg in that game.
Agreed.
Tennessee, really good. Mississippi State, even better.
And that's why I bought in.
Okay, now they've put that behind them. And it's like Missouri went last night to Missouri fans and said, let me remind you that we can suck too. I just want you guys to know there's always a possibility of us coming out and just sucking, because that's what we can do tonight. It was as bad as that bragging rights game when it was like, do I really want to be here? Which is odd, because that's the bragging rights in St. Louis, and they played like absolute crap that night. And that was without Trent Pierce, and without Jaden Stone, and without Trent Burns, and with Anthony Robinson playing point guard, and T.O. Barrett coming off the bench. All of these things we've talked about that have changed the complexion of this Missouri team. And last night, me texting with my buddy who's a Kentucky fan before the game started and joking about, like, he was like, hey, are you going to be in town for anything or any and I'm like, I'm going to be in Indianapolis at the Final Four. And he's like, oh yeah, And I was like, I'll be there watching Mizzou, joking. And he's like, yeah, sure, I'll be there watching Kentucky too. I said, hey, let's keep it to realistic teams that can make it, okay? And I said, but in all honesty, they're not going to make the Final Four because they don't. But this is the first time I've been this excited about a Missouri team heading into the tournament in a long time. An hour later, the game starts. And it was just a complete, I don't want to be here. And I'm sitting there watching the game with my son. And I'm just, the one thing that to him and his friends and teammates, and especially his baseball team that I help coach, don't coach in basketball, but help coach in baseball, the main thing that you can control. You can't control what somebody else does. You can't control sometimes where the ball bounces, all of those things. The one thing, maybe two, but the one thing you can absolutely control is your effort, your energy. You can control that. You can control your attitude as well. So maybe attitude and effort, but you can control how hard you work. That's the one thing. You can't control if the coach puts you in. You can't control if the coach calls a play for you. You can't control if the umpire calls a strike that may have been a ball, or you're on the mound and it's a ball that should have been. You can't control those things. You can control your energy, your effort, your attitude. And it bothers me to the nth degree. And I know you can't play your best basketball every night. They're not pros. But I just don't understand when you're playing college basketball and you get a chance to walk out there and play, and there aren't many, when you look at the grand scheme of things in your life, there aren't many opportunities to do that, that you just simply are like, I don't really want to be here. I'd rather be somewhere else. Like, it doesn't compute with me, and I think a lot of people, because obviously I never played at that level, and so I would have loved to play at that level, so I get all of those things, and maybe there's an element of jealousy. I will, sit down with the therapist on the couch and maybe go through these things as to why that bothers me more than anything. But it just does. And watching the first 30, 45 minutes of that game last night, Sterling, then watching the first 30, 45 minutes of the Arizona State-Kansas game, I'm just watching it going, how do you just simply take a night off when you've got so few, especially this late in the season? You're guaranteed 4 more games. That's it. Well, Missouri's guaranteed 3 more games. That's it. The season is like that. And you look up and it's over.
Well, and you don't have
It makes no sense to me. Sorry.
You have no NBA guys on your roster, too. It's not like these are guys who are playing at the next level.
I think Mark Mitchell will be on a bench.
G League somewhere.
I think he can.
If Kobe Brown couldn't, he can't shoot.
I think T.O. Barrett is the next Jason Kidd. So I've said that.
But my point is, to your point, it's not like these guys are like, well, we can take tonight off because I'm going to be playing in the NBA and making a lot of money. I have a long future ahead. Some might play G League, some might play overseas, but there's not an NBA star littering this bunch of guys. Jayden Stone, to me, has been Bryson Tiller, where, to me, those guys have got real hot at one point, and all of a sudden, the last 5 games or so, they've struggled.
All right, so breaking news as it relates to the Kansas City Chiefs. Ian Rappaport reports, we've talked about this. This is the exact team we've been saying. Ian Rappaport, the Chiefs are in deep trade talks to send Trent McDuffie to the Rams for pick number 29 and additional compensation. We have said this is the exact team I've talked about, right? I pointed out, a month ago, that if the Chiefs are going to make a trade, it makes the most sense with the Rams. The Rams have 2 first-round picks. The Rams have the 9th most cap space. The Rams are one of 7 teams that have to spend an additional $50 million to be in the bylaws of the CBA of a 3-year rolling cap that you have to have. The Rams are among that, and their main need is quarterback. At pick 13, the Colts pick, almost every single comp or a mock draft is taking a cornerback. Trent McDuffie is from L.A. Trent McDuffie said last year that if he ever played for another team in the NFL, he'd want to play for the Rams. Everything made too much sense. And it looks like the Chiefs are trading because what do we know about these reports, guys? Remember when it came out that the Chiefs have allowed Tyreek Hill to seek trade with other teams? 30 minutes later, he was officially traded or at least traded to the Dolphins, and we knew the compensation a half hour later. If you're asking me, Trent McDuffie has been traded already to the Rams for number 29. That's what this means. Trent McDuffie is a Los Angeles Ram. They will get pick number 29. Jordan Schultz is now tweeting out the Chiefs are going to get pick number 29, a 5th and a 6th, and a 27 third.
Wow. That's a
haul.
That is a lot to bring back.
This is initial reports, by the way. Jordan Schultz. Trent McDuffie is being traded to the Rams in exchange for pick 29, a 5th round, a 6th round, and a 2027 third.
Well, that is a much larger return.
We were talking about a 2nd and a 3rd this year, right? We were saying, would you take a 2nd and a 3rd this year right now? Yes. They got a 1st, a 3rd, though, and a 5th and a 6th.
Now, again, it is 29, so it's not like
still
it's
a 1st and a 3rd.
No. I know, but that is depending on the value marker. If it was a 2nd rounder, but it was picked 35, it's not a huge difference. But you have the 5th-year option in a season where you have so many holes on your roster, as we've gone through time and time again. You get all of his draft compensation. I am floored by this in a good way. And I love Trent McDuffie. This is not a knock against him. He is a Chief legend. I mean, he was a phenomenal player.
Jordan Schultz now saying Trent McDuffie is heading to the Rams. So there you go. So Trent McDuffie is traded to the Los Angeles Rams for pick 29, a 5th rounder, a 6th rounder, and a 2027 third rounder.
Incredible. What a return.
I cannot believe they got that amount back in. I thought it was going to be pick 29, and that's it.
Yeah.
Shout out Brett Veach. Shout out Brett Veach, because the Chiefs now have 9 selections in this draft. They have 2 they have pick 9, 29, and 40. They have a 3rd, a 4th, 3 5th rounders, and a 6th rounder now. The Chiefs can now, let's be honest, if they're sitting at pick number 9. Now, there's a lot to get into this, okay? There's a lot of different ways we can talk about this. And by the way, I will tell you right now, because of schedules changing, we had to tape Daniel Harms this morning for the first time that we have ever talked to Daniel Harms not live.
I know.
We taped him this morning because of usually at noon, but there was a doctor's appointment with his daughter. They got moved around, and we're like, all right, he's like, I can't. I'm like, you know what? Let's do it at 9 o'clock. Nothing's going to change, right? They're not going to trade Trent McDuffie. So we'll just tell you at noon as well that was taped, so we don't really even talk about Trent McDuffie in that. But with 9 picks now, guys, if they're sitting at pick 9, and let's say Ruben Bain is there at 6 or 7, they have capital. They have a 2027 third.
Yeah.
They have a third this year. They have 3 fifth-rounders. They've got an ability to move around the board. Maybe you're sitting there at pick 29, and something else pops up at pick 25 that you're like, this guy shouldn't be here. You've got the maneuverability to do that. It's not just the picks you get. It's the additional picks that allow you to move around the board to be players in the chess game. And the Chiefs went from 6 picks in this draft to 9 picks in the draft and a third-rounder next year with 2 first-rounders for one of the fan favorites in Trent McDuffie. There's a reason it was this haul, Sterling, you're talking about. And I know we need to get to breaks, but we're going to have to switch some things up. That's perfectly fine because at 11 o'clock, we're going to switch the topic. And I don't care what's going on in sports. We're switching the topic to talk with Bill Brandmeier and talk with Ryan Omert about the Do Like Duke Foundation. So that's regardless of anything that's going on. But go ahead, Sterling.
I want to give you credit real quick.
Thanks.
Because you pulled this up earlier this week, or was it last week, in regards to what we saw Howie Roseman do with the Eagles and how they were able to get so much high-end talent for so long. And it did start, obviously, with Jalen Carter, and it started with Carson Wentz getting that, which
started in 2020 being 4-11 and having the 6th pick in the 2021 draft.
And it helped build their, it's not a dynasty, but they're, let's say, control in the NFC.
Yeah.
Let's say they're standing in the NFC. Now, you got to get the picks right. But the Chiefs now have their chance to do this right now. You have to get extra draft capital. They did. They didn't overpay. They didn't say, hey, our hand is forced here. We have to pay Trent McDuffie. We're going to make him the highest paid cornerback, and we're only have 1 draft pick, even though we have a whole bunch of holes on this roster. The Chiefs did the smart thing, in my opinion, and got a haul back.
Sorry, I said the Colts pick, but it's not the Colts pick. That's the Jets have the Colts pick. They've got the Falcons pick because the Falcons traded into the first round last year to get Pierce.
Yes.
Which was a good selection at the time and looked really good as he was up for Defensive Rookie of the Year. And now he's facing many battery charges, and they don't have a first-rounder. The Rams have the 13th pick. The Chiefs now have the 29th pick in the draft. The Rams' third-rounder, the Rams' fifth-rounder, and the Rams' third-rounder in 2027. On a scale of 1 to 10, this is a 12 for compensation for me. Go around the room real quick. If it said Trent McDuffie's been traded to the Rams for pick 29, what would the reaction be?
8.
Okay, cool. You know what? They got you weren't going to get 2 first-rounders like Sauce. You got the 29th pick in the draft, and you're not paying $30 million a year for Trent McDuffie. It does allow you to maybe be a player with Jalen Watson and Brian Cook, and they got a first-rounder for Trent McDuffie. Okay, are you good with that haul of just the 29th pick in the draft for Trent McDuffie?
Think about it this way, too. This is the position they draft better than any other spot
They're
on
used
the
to
field.
it.
They're used to it. Noah Williams emerged late last year.
Yep.
You get the value out of your number 1. You trade that number 1. Your number 2 becomes your number 1, which now very well could be Jalen Watson.
The Dam by Jalen Watson. I'm assuming this is what it was.
That's a good call.
The Twitter account.
We thought it was Jerickson Profar because he's a Braves fan.
Good work.
Thank you. There's Sterling Holmes,
Remember?
Sherlock Holmes, very close.
Because, we were in with Todd yesterday, and he tweeted out, damn, at 1:30. And we said, what is this for? And I joked, I said, Trent McDuffie's been traded, everybody. Go find the audio there, Michael. Go do it now. Now. So Trent McDuffie's been traded, everybody. That's why Jalen Watson, but I was joking. Maybe, maybe not. We did settle on, well, he's a Braves fan, so it's the Jerickson Profar news.
Sterling Sherlock Holmes gets to the bottom of the dam.
I said Trent McDuffie trade.
Am I a beaver?
I said Trent McDuffie trade.
Because I found the dam.
That's true. Yep.
You did.
So there you go. Trent McDuffie
I can't believe I got to be a part of this. That
has
was
been
awesome. Breaking
traded.
news sounder and
Yes.
everything.
Trent McDuffie has been traded to the Los Angeles Rams for pick 29, a third rounder, a fifth rounder. Let me start over. Let me get it exactly right. Trent McDuffie has been traded to the Los Angeles Rams for pick 29 in the upcoming draft, a fifth rounder, a sixth rounder, and a third rounder in the 2027 NFL draft. An absolute blockbuster by Brett Veach, and the Chiefs become even stronger players in the draft coming up in April. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes. We talked about the breaking news with Trent McDuffie. Let's get into something that's even more important, much a bigger issue, deal, meaning than just some sports. And Bill Brandmeier joining us from Sharewaves, and also Ryan Omert from Do Like Duke Foundation, father of Duke Omert. And we followed the story on the air, Ryan, for, to be candid, and conversation that that Sterling and I had on the air, in talking about what was going on with Duke at the time when he was battling in the hospital. And I told you the story yesterday that when the news came around to me, because my family had been following it closely, my son plays basketball with one of Duke's best friends in Bennett. And when the news broke that Thursday morning, I think it was, and I was on the air, the show had to stop because I just broke down because I see myself in this story. But thank you for joining us. And I would say, Ryan, first of all, thank you for finding the strength to do this in Duke's name, because I don't know how many people could do that.
Well, we appreciate the opportunity, and I mean that. Thank you. It's one of those things that you try not to ever put yourself in the shoes of what would I do if this happened to me. But it's it's just one of those things that it's funny. I find myself through the course of a day several times. I'm a 45-year-old man, and I look back and I say, well, what would Duke do? How would my 10-year-old son handle this situation? And it's it's funny looking at it like that, but that's the way it is. My wife and I kind of taken the approach that we want to move forward each day. It may be a millimeter each day, but as long as we're moving forward, our biggest thing is to continue to make Duke proud, and continue to carry his legacy on. So.
Ryan Olmert's our guest. Bill Brandmeier, who we've heard before on the air with the Sharewaves. So, Bill, right, how did you guys hook up to get this rolling with this 3-on-3 basketball tournament with Sharewaves, home field March 28th, which my son will be. We've got a baseball tournament that weekend, so we're trying to figure some things out because he's playing on Bennett's team in the basketball tournament. So we're like, we don't, how the tournaments are. You find out on Tuesday for when you're going to be playing that weekend, and it's like, well, we also have other plans too.
That's right.
So we are really wanting to make it work because of not just a fun 3-on-3 tournament, but honestly for us, we're wanting to make it work and do whatever we can because of Duke. So, Bill, how did this whole thing come about to where now Sharewaves here at Sports Radio 810 is involved with Do Like Duke Foundation?
Yeah, first of all, thank you so much for the time, Sterling. Thank you. I love your guys' show. I was trying to explain to him the difference between the morning show and this show, and I said, Jason just brings a little bit of humor and laughter to almost every conversation, and it's so great.
I don't know how many people laugh. We try to laugh. I'm not sure how many people are laughing with us or at us.
When Ryan and I look at this, it's a God thing. The opportunity to meet Ryan and Monica happened at the Blasters, which is our annual fundraiser that we have at Top Golf, raising money to help under-resourced kids play sports through our game-changing grants. And in that opportunity, it was one of the first nights that they had to be out in the public with their friends and family around them. We were able to have them set up, and they were able to play in the Blasters as part of the fun that we have at Top Golf, but also be a part of meeting all the people that do what we do here. Brian Haney was our MC, and they met Nate Bucati, and they met Roger Espinoza, and they met Michael Lawrence, who runs Big Brothers and Big Sisters, and through that, they saw what Sharewaves was trying to accomplish, which is to bring light and energy to youth sports in a way that makes it something we can share with all kids, because sports helps kids become better people. Sharewaves for 7 years has partnered with Sports Radio 810, powered by Sports Radio 810, to try to tell the story. We share the airwaves to tell the story of what sports does for kids. And March has always been about, before the madness, let there be gladness. Let's celebrate what's good about youth sports. And kindness, inclusion, perseverance, and grit, that's Duke. And so it was a natural fit. The family needed a 501c3 to be their fiscal sponsor to help them raise money and still provide donors with the tax benefits of giving to a cause. And so we formed a partnership, signed an MOU. The Sharewaves Foundation is proud to accept donations on behalf of the Do Like Duke Foundation so they can get a foothold and a starting point to do the things that they want to do with the future of this foundation. And they have a desire to do a lot of good with this bad. And I'll let Ryan talk a little bit more about the experiences that he's having that are positive as a result of this negative, tragic event. but it's numerous. It's not just once a day. It's all the time. We are all being blessed by Duke.
Yeah. First and foremost, the support from, our friends, family, Duke's friends, but then also from so many people that we had never met, we had never known prior to then to everything happening. So we've been blessed, and that's what, I try to tell people that, yes, this is an awful situation. Mm-hmm. Yes, that little boy is missed greatly every single day. But we work very hard to not play the victim card. We work very hard to not play the poor me card. And I think that does kind of come back to who Duke is and how he has always lived his life. But exactly what Bill was just talking about, the pillars of what Sharewaves Foundation does and what March Gladness is all about is exactly who Duke is and exactly what Do Like Duke Foundation is trying to accomplish as we move forward as well.
That's what I was going to ask you, Ryan. What is the focus, the mission for the Do Like Duke Foundation?
He was a funny kid. His interests were very broad. He had a little YouTube channel with a couple buddies that they would do baseball stuff out in the front yard, and it's pretty funny. He would draw, he would fish, and then it was sports. But then, he'd find time just to hang out, with his buddies. So his interests are very broad. We haven't had a board meeting yet where we try to hone things in, but the mission statement is broad as well, because we do have a lot of different things to choose from. But, there will be sports stuff. There will be, pay for play to alleviate the financial responsibility for people that puts in a rough spot on. But also the bullying, anti-bullying, inclusion. I think he had a very neat way about him where he made everybody feel comfortable. Nobody had to put on a show to impress Duke. Duke was just fine with who you were as a person and made everybody be safe or feel safe, and they could just be who they are and who God made them to be, and Duke was fine with it. So I think that kind of encapsulates everything that that March Gladness is about. Yes, we're playing basketball, but at the same time, it's about so much more than just playing basketball. It's a time to be together. It's a time to show good sportsmanship. It's a time to togetherness and be glad. We do have things to be thankful for. We do have things that we're blessed with, and we can be glad about that at the same time as being sad. Both things can be true at the same time.
The 3-on-3 tournament is March 28th at home field KC. I know there are different ways of sponsorship levels and things like that for people to be a part of it, Bill. One, how can people get in touch to be a part of it, and also find out how to play in the 3-on-3 tournament March 28th?
Yeah, all the information that you need is at the sharewavesfoundation.org website. It's sharewaves with an S, foundation.org. Go to our homepage. Right at the top, we've got links to register your team, register as an individual. We're doing free agents this year where we have individuals coming. We'll assign you to a 3-on-3 team. We want kids to come and play. Kids call their own fouls. We're going to have court monitors, but we're not having referees. This is a half-court 3-on-3. The winner gets to go report himself to the tournament director. We'll have 3 guaranteed games for every kid who comes, and then we'll have a bracket a deal later on in the afternoon. It's an all-day thing at home field in KCK. And they've opened up their doors to us. We're going to have awesome opportunities for vendors and sponsors to come and share the moment with us, be a part of something really special. We're having a 3-on-3 basketball exhibition by the Wheelchair Kansas City Kings,
wow, nice.
Part of Midwest Adaptive Resource, just to kind of bring that inclusion and idea of what it takes to be involved in youth sports in Kansas City. So that's going to be a really fun experience. Go to the website. We've broken things down as we have a national championship sponsorship, which is basically the presenting sponsor. We have the Final Four level. We have the Elite Eight and Sweet 16, all the way down to the Field of 64 and the last 4 in. For $100, you can just be a part of the last 4 in and help contribute to what we're doing to raise money so that kids can play sports, specifically for summer camps in Kansas City. So we are funding sponsorships. We're funding inclusion. We're funding kids into high-quality sports experiences through all the different camps and clinics that are out there. We've partnered with camps and clinics. We've created our own camps and clinics. We are going to drive kids into a full summer of activity around multiple sports in Kansas City. That's what Shareways is all about.
How old for the kids? Like, as a 31-year-old kid, I'm assuming I'm too old to cross some kids over.
Sterling wants to play in the 10. He wants to play in the 10U bracket.
I have a piece of paper that says I am 12. Does that work for me?
Diploma?
Well,
high school diploma.
Also,
I do.
Bill and Ryan, it's call your own. So Sterling, if you, I got it. No, you got me on the arm. He's 10, Sterling.
wait.
He's 10. Come
Hey,
on.
I mean, he got me though. He got my hip. Come on now.
Play through
now,
contact.
we will tee people up and we will kick people out.
Yes.
Too technical. So.
Yes.
But how old actually? How old for the kids?
So it's we're trying to ask second graders and above to come all the way through seniors in high school.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's all levels, girls and boys. We have the home. If you don't know about this 300,000 square foot, complex out this athletic complex out in KCK, it's worth the drive just to see this thing.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Real, yes. And it's got stadium seating around the courts so that all the parents they get moved upstairs and they get to watch their kids play from above, and it's a really cool environment. We're going to have a lot of fun and festivities. We just contacted some of the mascots in the Kansas City area
cool.
to come, and we're going to have some in-game activity. We have a DJ coming. He's going to play music all day, and this is kind of a hoop it up street ball kind of fun atmosphere. Not heavy on the competition. Obviously, kids want to win. But mostly, we sit around the table going, well, can first graders come if they're really athletic, if they're really good? Anybody who wants to come play, we're going to give them space to play. This place is huge.
Yeah.
We've got access to all the courts. We're going to have some fun with kids. We're going to have a 3-on-3 basketball tournament in the middle of all the chaos, and we're going to structure it the best we can. It's going to be a lot of excitement. And so far, we have about 35 teams that have registered. Our goal is to get over 100 teams. If you have 100 teams, 5-man teams, you're pushing a lot of people. We're probably going to have 1,200 to 1,500 people out at this basketball extravaganza. It's the day of the Elite Eight, so at that point, we hope that any one of our local teams are still playing basketball on that day. We'll get to have all the screens up, watching a lot of hoops, and celebrating the life of Duke Omert, this amazing kid who was all about kindness, inclusion, perseverance, and grit. That's who Duke was, and that's what we're going to celebrate.
Yeah, my son played in the state tournament was at home field this past weekend. So I had never played there before, or watched there. I've never played there, obviously, but I'd never watched. I play. When my kids are out there, I'm playing too.
You're a 45-year-old kid too.
I try not to be out there. I try to let the kid play. Basketball is a little more difficult because I'm not coaching. I'm just watching, so it's a little more. Baseball, I'm coaching and doing those things, so it might be a little more easy to focus on the other kids and not just coach my kid. But regardless, home field, amazing space, and I'd never been in that building before, and I could not believe what they have built out there with all of those courts. And like you said, Bill, the stadium seating, what a great place to have this particular event, because you want as many courts, but to have as nice of a facility as home field to be able to have it at, that makes a difference too.
I think one of the coolest things about it is, you walk in the front door and spectators or parents go upstairs.
Yes.
And, as a fourth grade boy or girl or, younger or older, you run out onto the court, underneath, where all the seating's at. And I've got to imagine, as a young person, that's got to feel pretty cool that they feel like,
Yeah.
like they're really, NBA players or whatever. So.
Yeah.
You had mentioned earlier, about, honoring Duke, and truly we will be honoring Duke. But, since all of this has happened, I have felt him with me and with us from the very beginning of all this. And there are times every day where I feel him, and I have no doubt he will have a big presence that day. Not physically, like we all would like, but he will have a big presence that day. There's no doubt in my mind. So.
How quickly were you and your wife and family able to say, this tragedy happened, how do we find a way to keep his memory going, and a foundation or something along the lines? Was it immediate? Was it, we've got to do something to make sure that people know who Duke was?
It was pretty quick. We when he was taken off of his ventilator, we had another day, 24 hours to spend with him at the hospital. And it was about that time that my brothers and Monica, my wife, and some of the other dads and moms were in the waiting room, and and it was at that time, I think we all agreed at that point, it's like, we have to do something. And that was kind of neat as a dad, because as a parent, I'm sure all parents feel that way. We have to do something to continue this legacy. But there were my brothers and a bunch of the other parents that also agreed, and they kind of approached us about it, like, hey, what are you thinking here? So it was very quick. And I feel like in 4 months we've made a lot of progress. Again, going back to the support from Bill and our friends and our family and strangers that have helped us get here. But a lot of this is therapeutic as well, because we are doing things for Duke's honor, for his legacy, to continue who he's always been, to continue that on. So it's been good for us too.
Yep, for sure. Tomorrow night we have a Before the Madness 3-hour radio show.
That's right.
We're going to talk more with Ryan about his experience. We're going to have some of Duke's coaches come on and talk about who
cool.
Duke was as a person. Brian Haney's going to join me in the second hour. Head coach Bill Self is going to explain what happened last night with his technicals.
Are you going to let him be on for the entire time, or is it like only like 7 minutes and then he's got to go?
No,
I don't know what's
the
deal there.
We're going to watch him really closely, and if he crosses half court, he's in trouble.
Yeah, just stay in his box, and then he'll be able to be on the
in the
show.
final hour, Nate Bucati's going to come and talk about Before the Madness of the World Cup and what that means. So it takes on a little different meaning, Before the Madness, but knowing that Kansas City is about to be descended upon, we are base camp capital of the World Cup, and we're going to have Nate help us explain what that means to Kansas City.
It's a cool night tomorrow night. Like you said, the first hour is going to be the Do Like Duke hour, where you guys are going to be talking about this, the foundation. I'm assuming talking a lot about Duke, and celebrating his life. And then Brian Haney and Bill Self in the second hour, and then Nate Bucati, Roger Espinoza, and Lola Bonta will be on the air for that third hour.
Yeah, and Danny Welniak's going to come on too.
Oh, that's awesome.
So
Casey Current for sure.
For sure.
Danny,
So
love Danny. She's great at what she does. I mean, she is awesome. So that is really cool. Do Like Duke Foundation, March Gladness, the 3-on-3 tournament, March 28th at home field. Again, tell people how they can get involved, be a part of it, sponsorship, or just simply take part and play in the tournament.
Yeah, we need court monitors too, so we need volunteers.
Oh, cool.
We'll go to the SharewaysFoundation.org website. You will get a portal into all that's happening. If you are interested in sponsoring, we need more sponsors. Obviously, the more money we can raise, the more kids can play this summer, and the opportunities to be involved as a kid to play in these games. We're really excited that we're going to have a lot of teams out there, a lot of kids playing, and parents up above cheering them on.
Yeah, no, it's very cool.
And if you don't have any kids that are going to be playing, join us. Come out and join us.
Yeah.
There's going to be vendor tables set up. There's going to be opportunities
Face
for
painting.
face painting and
cool.
merchandise and things like that. And I think it's just going to be a good day all around. So even if you don't have anybody involved, come out and say hi and join us for the day.
Yeah, check out home field.
Yeah, Do Like Duke Foundation. ShareWavesFoundation.org is where you can go and check that out and find a way to enjoy yourself playing some 3-on-3 basketball, to give back, to celebrate Duke's life. And tomorrow night will be the ShareWaves show with those 3 hours, which will
Before the Madness
be a lot of fun as well with March Gladness. Ryan, Bill, thank you guys for stopping in and hanging with us a little bit and telling us more about this. And anything you guys need, we'll be here to help out along the way with the Do Like Duke Foundation. Ryan, anything you guys need, let us know, reach out, and we'll do whatever we can in our power to be able to help out, because I know this, obviously your family, but it has affected a lot of families. Yep. And my family has certainly been affected by what your family is going through, because everybody sees themselves in Duke and you guys. And so certainly you have our support in anything that you guys need. Just let us know and we'll be able to do that. So
I'll just say that knowing Ryan has made me a better dad.
Duke's story has made me a better dad.
Yeah, for sure.
That's
And maybe that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
So we appreciate the opportunity, both of you guys, for having us on, and we love the opportunity. that Bill presented to us to be a part of
awesome.
Sharewave.
Yeah.
So
we have a dog because of Duke. I was never going to get a dog. I was refusing to get it. We're never going to have a dog. And my son, since he was 2 years old, has asked for a dog. Want a dog, want a dog. Every birthday, want a dog. Christmas, want a dog. I'm like, no, we're not going to get it. I'm just not a pet person at all. And I'm like, it's going to be me and your mom. And when Duke passed, my wife and I were like, let's make sure that he's, so we got a dog.
Yep.
And has it been you and your wife taking care of it?
Yes.
Yes, of course it has.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly what I thought it would happen.
We had the same thing we have a dog because Duke wanted one. We've had him for 6 or 7 years, and he's a great dog. But my wife and I are the ones that pretty much do everything else with the dog.
Absolutely, yes. So yes, it's impacted a lot of lives, and I have a feeling Duke will continue to impact a lot of lives.
I hope so.
Ryan, thank you so much.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. Bill, thank you guys.
Thank you guys.
DoLikeDukeFoundation.org, ShareWavesFoundation.org. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Daniel Harms at noon. Full transparency with Daniel Harms. He had some things with a doctor's appointment, and it got moved around, and so our typical noon conversation with Daniel was not going to happen today. So for the first time that we have ever talked to Daniel Harms, it was like, well, you know what? We can tape it before the show at 9, and so that's what we did. So Daniel Harms' conversation coming up at noon was a conversation we taped before the blockbuster Trent McDuffie trade. Imagine that. Which, by the way, we had yesterday. So I'm saying, damn, Trent McDuffie got traded. I'm going to the extreme. That was Jalen Watson tweeted out, damn, and we were trying to guess what he meant by saying and tweeting out, damn. I don't know. We nailed it, guys. We did it. If you're just joining us, Trent McDuffie traded to the Los Angeles Rams, pick 29 in the first round, a 5th rounder, a 6th rounder, and a 2027 3rd rounder. And so the Los Angeles Rams, who we have, by the way, I mean,
talked about for a while.
We don't look, if you listen to this show, the Rams should not be a surprise. It's been about a month now that we've been discussing McDuffie to the Rams. He's from L.A. If he plays for another team, he already said he'd play for the Rams. His childhood team growing up. The Rams have 2 first-round picks. Their main need is cornerback. They've got the 9th most cap space, and they are one of 7 teams that have to be cap compliant with the CBA over a 3-year rolling cap that they have to spend $50 million more. They have to spend the money. So by signing players, they have the flexibility of not only cap space right now, but required spending cap of the 3-year rolling cap average to front load Trent McDuffie. Like, they can do what the Chiefs can't do. If the Chiefs signed McDuffie, they would have to backload that. You couldn't take the cap hit this year. The Rams can say, we're trading a first rounder for McDuffie, and we're going to front load that cap hit. And now we are going to have a cheaper corner the next 3 years or so, and still have the 13th pick in the draft. Because, by the way, with the Chiefs getting a 3rd rounder in 2027, the Rams did not view a 2026 first rounder as lesser value than a 2025 first rounder. They gave up their first round pick in 2025 to move back into the mid-second round and pick up a 2026 first rounder. They traded from 29, think about this, they traded from mid-20s to the mid-second round for Trent McDuffie.
Well,
and the number 13 pick?
It made so much sense for the Rams.
I mean, think about that.
I mean, the Rams, this made all the sense in the world. They have the cap. I mean, what it really comes down to is cap space. If we're being fully transparent, it's not like the Chiefs wanted to move on from McDuffie. The Chiefs love McDuffie. They like McDuffie. They just probably aren't in the situation.
The cap is real. They can't sign McDuffie.
They can't make him the highest paid cornerback in football. If they would have signed him right after Surtain, yeah, maybe they have a chance, right? Because he's signed for 24.5. Sure. But for 30 plus? Well, we've talked about it. They don't want to necessarily extend Chris Jones, who's an aging defensive tackle, and kick that can down the road. All you're doing then is making it harder on yourself and nearly impossible to improve. You're staying stagnant. What do Chiefs fans, what do we want? What did we say last year? They were stagnant. They've stayed the same. They need change. This sucks. But this is the same thing that happened in 2022. And the funny part was, McDuffie was part of the reason for the turnaround. Tyreek Hill was too expensive. They had a number. They said, we're not going to reach that number. We got to trade him. McDuffie, I'm assuming the exact same situation. Hey, we like you. You're a great player. We can't hit that number. We got to trade you. Now, you got to get the draft picks right. They got it right in 2022. But for all the people who are hand-wringing saying, well, how do you trade a all-pro? They did it already one time, and it worked out pretty well for them. They won 2 Super Bowls and went to 3 straight. Now it's time for that reset yet again. This is a resetting year, and this gives me hope and an opportunity for the Chiefs to not extend Chris Jones, get your cap right, get younger, get faster, more youthful. There was a lot of holes, and now you have another opportunity to fix that hole.
The Rams trade, if we look at the, I just put it together in my head and then wrote it down. I think this is pretty close. So dating back to last year, pick number 26, Rams on the clock. And that was in April, so a matter of 10 months. So 10 months ago, they traded pick 26, 29, 101, a third, fifth, and sixth for pick 13, 46, 242, and Trent McDuffie. I mean, you would trade 26 and 29 to move up to 13 alone, right? It would take a couple of first rounders. It took the Chiefs from 27 to 10, next year's first rounder.
Yeah.
So to get from 26 to 13, it might take almost 29 or more. So they traded 26 and 29, and then 101, third, fifth, sixth for 13, 46, 242, and McDuffie.
Not too bad for the Rams either.
Yeah.
And because, again, the cap space. If the Chiefs did the same thing, you'd say, well, why wouldn't the Chiefs do that? Well, they would if they had the cap space.
Right.
They simply do not.
Yeah. And it's funny because reading in an article yesterday, looking at different, because I was looking at teams that the Chiefs could trade Jawan Taylor to, which is something that we were going to talk about. We can still talk about it, but teams that maybe the Chiefs would look to trade Jawan Taylor to, and that would be great if they can trade Jawan Taylor. They're going to release Jawan Taylor, but a team can say, well, we're going to release him, and now you can bid with other teams, or you get a $19 million tackle. You know what the money is this year. It's $19 million for that contract. You can give him a contract extension if you want to, but if you trade for, let's say, a seventh rounder, okay, take a seventh round, take a 2027, sixth rounder or whatever. But reading about one particular opinion with the Rams and saying the Rams should not trade for Trent McDuffie. And the funny part is, their reasoning was the exact reasoning why I wanted the Chiefs to trade Trent McDuffie. Their reasoning was, are you trading for Trent McDuffie, paying him $30 million a year, and have him play outside corner when his best position is in the slot, and you've already re-signed Lake to play the slot? You need outside corner help. Are you going to play McDuffie at his second best position outside while paying him outside corner money and giving up draft capital to do it?
Their defense is insane, by the way.
Absolutely.
We know why it worked for them, too. Byron Young, edge rusher, rookie contract. Brandon Fisk, edge rusher, rookie contract. Jared Verse, edge rusher, rookie contract.
Yep.
You know how much money they're saving with 3 good edge rushers on rookie deals?
Yep. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk about one of the added incentives, not just the draft picks, but the added incentive, and looking back to the 2022 draft, what the Chiefs were able to do with the added picks. Is that something we might be watching 7 weeks from now? The end of next month. More Zone next. All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Okay, we know the compensation now and the actual picks compensation for the Chiefs. The Chiefs from the Rams get picked 29, 168, and 210. So that means the Chiefs' draft picks will be, these are now the 9 selections the Chiefs have in the draft. 9, 29, 40, 74, 109, 147, 168, 177, 210. They have 9 picks there in the first, 6 rounds. It's pick number 29 of the 6th round. But they have 4 selections in the top 75. They have 3 picks in the top 40. I mean, great bands don't have 3 hits in the top 40. They've got 3, right, Sterling? They've got 3.
Pretty good, actually.
Thank you. In the top 40. How many times have we talked? I mean, Chris Jones was selected after pick 40, right? That was their first pick of that draft, was Chris Jones after that. They will have 3 players in the top 40. So they got the 2nd, the 5th, the 6th, and a 3rd. Or the first, the 1st, the 5th, the 6th, and a 3rd. For Tyreek Hill, they got pick number 29, which was the exact same number that they got from McDuffie. They got a 2nd rounder, 2 4ths, and a 6th. So they ended up getting 4 picks after pick 29, including a 2nd rounder. The Chiefs got a 3rd rounder, a 5th, and a 6th. So for Tyreek Hill, it was a 1st, a 2nd, 2 4ths, and a 6th. Trent McDuffie, a 1st, a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th. So it's 4 selections as compared to 5. The 6th rounders cancel each other out. The 2nd, 4th, and 4th is exchanged for a 3rd and a 5th. And then the other things are the same. Would anybody have guessed that the Chiefs would get really close to the Tyreek Hill compensation for Trent McDuffie?
No.
Not even close.
No.
This
I thought maybe we were talking about, would you take a 2nd and a 4th, maybe a 2nd and a 3rd, but you have to give up like a 2027 5th rounder or something like that to get a 2nd and a 3rd?
This changes the philosophy of the Chiefs draft dramatically. Now I am way more okay with Love.
Trade up for
9.
Jeremiah Love.
No.
Trade up to 4 for Jeremiah Love. Sterling saying 9 and 29 for Love.
No, but Jeremiah Love at 9 is way more palatable now.
Yeah.
Because then I do think you might be able to find a Stowers, no, not a Stowers, a Sadiq, a Banks, a Peter Woods at 29. Or you could do another one, which I brought up the other day. People hate it. I don't necessarily love it, but let's say they fall in love with a right tackle at 9. It also makes right tackle way more palatable at 9 because you could do that. You could do Jadarian Price at 40. You could do 29. You could do a wide receiver. I mean, there's just so much more room to maneuver now. So many more positions became palatable at 9. I think no longer do you have to reach also at 9 because now you could also package 40 and move 29 up to, let's say, 23. I don't know exactly the math in front of me as far as what 40, how many spots that will move you up. But there's just so many ways the Chiefs and Brett Veach can navigate this draft in a draft where you can hopefully get one blue chip player at 9 or even trade up if you want to get your guy. If you want Bain, if that's your dude, let's just say hypothetically Bain is their guy, it is Bain or bust. Well, now you have some ammunition to get your guy.
Yep.
I'm enamored by this. I'm thrilled by this. I loved Trent McDuffie, but it didn't feel like it was going to make fiscally responsible sense to move forward as I don't think they were ever going to come to an agreement.
So here's where you can look at it, and I'll create this scenario. So as you mentioned, becomes a little more palatable to draft Jeremiah Love at number 9.
Correct.
And I'm with you on that. And we've also talked about the true value. When we're saying, well, you can get an $8 or $9 million running back and solve that issue. Yeah, okay, and you can get then say you can get an $11 or $12 million pass rusher and solve that issue. Well, does he help? Yeah, but does he help? Okay, Trey Hendrickson and Jalen Phillips, they help. Bain and Bailey, they'll help. Jeremiah Love will help. Algier, Kenneth Gainwell, they'll help. They'll help certainly, but what level? Well, Jeremiah Love is not a $7 or $8 million running back. He's hopefully a Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs, a $20 million running back, which is what Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs will sign for when they get their extension after this year or this summer. Sometimes you get the extension going into the fourth year of
the Owe, basically.
Yes.
Adafe Owe maybe would be the
Kwity Paye, Adafe Owe.
Boye Mafe. I think Boye Mafe's is his SPO track number is way too low. I think it's too low.
But I would say Boye Mafe though would be more of hey, you don't need Bain or Bailey, just go sign Boye Mafe. That's sort of the conversation we're having with Jeremiah Love. You don't need Jeremiah Love at number 9, just go sign ETN. Okay, well, yeah, but ETN is not going to be placed in the backfield and teams go, oh my God, ETN's back there. Let's know exactly where ETN is because he's a game changer. That's what you're hoping the projection would be for a Jeremiah Love. So let's talk about it from more palatable. Let me create this scenario. The Chiefs are sitting at number 9, and they take Jeremiah Love. And you're going, okay, well, you still have to have edge help. You still need somebody to sack the quarterback. At pick 29 and pick 40, they take Akeem Mesidor and Zion Young.
Be still my beating heart. I know Mesidor's older, but at that point...
But that's what 29 and 40 does for you, that you're like, oh, you need help. Okay, so if you took Love at number 9, and it's like, okay, well, Zion and Akeem Mesidor won't be there. One of those won't be there at 40. Okay, we'll get him at 29. And maybe it's, T.J. Parker at 40 or something. Or it's a defensive tackle. So you go from, Jeremiah Love and maybe at 40, let's say, because you need then a pass rusher. Let's say Zion Young. Let's just say Zion. I don't think he's going to be there because he's going to move up and up.
I think he'll be 29, closer to 29 than 40.
But because he's a name.
Yes.
So let's say, okay, Jeremiah Love, but you need a pass rusher, so now Zion Young. Okay, so you got better, certainly. Well, now let's throw into the scenario with pick 29. So let's say you get Jeremiah Love at 9, Zion at 29, and let's say Lee Hunter for Texas Tech at 40.
Sure.
Well, now you got a defensive tackle, an edge, and a game breaker on offense. I mean, to your point, and I do wonder what it means for Chiefs fans that are or at least on the do not draft Jeremiah Love. Not that Jeremiah Love sucks or he won't make an impact, but
Correct.
The cost acquisition, don't go running back at 9. Does this change anything? Or is it, no, now you can still do the same things with a Bain, or I'll throw in Tate because that's the name everybody's talking about, but I think wide receiver placeholder because it could be Lemon, could be Tyson. Daniel Holmes and I are in agreement. Tyson's our number 1 wide receiver.
I don't know. Lemon's presser made me...
But apparently all the interviews with the teams, they were like, some of them were like, oh, that's odd. Then he had some interviews with just people at the combine. It's like, oh, this guy sounds fine. What is he doing? I don't know. But let's just say placeholder Tate. Okay, Tate at number 9 as opposed to a running back. But you still have to then answer the same questions defensively with Tate at 9 as opposed to Jeremiah Love at 9. Or you can go Reuben Bain at 9. Because I would have been fine, Sterling, without pick 29. I'd have been fine if the Chiefs said, you know what? Let's go Bain at 9 and T.J. Parker at 40. Let's push our chips in.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just go.
I'm still fine with that.
We are going to wreck the other team's quarterbacks. That's what we're going to do. By the way, they need to now without McDuffie on the outside.
Yeah.
They need to be game wreckers on the defensive line.
This screams they trust no Williams. This probably tells me Jalen Watson's coming back. And this also screams that Christian Fulton's probably coming back as well. So if you're looking at your top 3 corners heading into next year, I'm assuming Watson extension. Fulton is just going to be brought back on his current contract, and then Noah Williams is now going to be a starter, which also leaves the slot situation up to, well, hopefully it's not Shamari Connor, but that, or maybe it's Christian Roland Wallace.
I was going to say, please let it be CRW instead of C squared.
You know my thoughts about that for a while. Harms and I have been the CRW fan club for 2 years now. Last year, obviously, injuries played a factor in that. So for me, what it comes down to is, yes, I love Love. I like him more now at 9, but if Bain or Bailey are still there at 9, I'm still going with one of those two guys. I think Jeremiah Love now is way more palatable, and I'm way more intrigued, and quite frankly, I'm in on it. If Bain and Bailey are gone at 9. part of me is just assumed, which is probably wrong. I don't like assuming makes an ass out of you and me, and I'm already an ass, so I don't need to make myself more of one. Yeah. But I've assumed that Bailey and Bane will both be gone at 9.
I do too, but you've got more picks to work with. You've got 9. When you had 6, you're not going to be able to make that move from 9 to 7. 2027 third rounder and a 5th rounder you just got from the Rams, and pick 9 to move up to 7 to get Bane. So if he's still there.
I am intrigued.
More palatable then.
It is. And again, if it's that
third rounder. Because you'll still have 8 picks in the draft this year.
Correct. If it's that third rounder in 2027 to move up, I'll acquiesce and agree there.
Uh-huh.
The part of me doesn't want to trade up at all. And
I don't want to. I'd rather trade back and keep stockpiling.
And same page. As much as I don't want to waste a year of Patrick's career, and I don't think this is a waste of a year because he's still Patrick Mahomes and you're still going to have a chance no matter what. This does feel like a get-right year now. Like, this to me screams they are getting cap compliant and they're going to rebuild this and get correct and figure out who they're going to build around. So there are holes. Many holes on this team that a running back or even just a single edge are not going to fix. They need 2 edge rushers. They need a defensive tackle. They probably need at least 1, if not 2 linebackers, depending on what happens with Leo and Drew. Whatever happens at safety, they will need a safety. They'll probably at least need to recoup and at least draft a cornerback to try and replace so they can have at least 4 cornerbacks they trust. Right tackle is still a question mark in 2027 and go in and into the future. Yes, running back. And they need about 3 wide receivers. And even if Travis Kelce comes back, you got 1 year. So it's not just as simple as 1 or 2 spots that they need. This is hey, what does the future look like? Let's get younger. Let's get cheaper. Let's get faster, a la, what was that, 2019 and 2022.
You could also go Bane 9, Zion 29, and Omar Cooper at 40.
Omar Cooper.
Get him the Heisman now. Or just Chris Brazel,
sure.
that Dane Brugler.
Brazel.
Dane Brugler has the Chiefs taking Brazel, the Tennessee wide receiver, at pick 40. That's moved up with the combine. So let's put that name in there. So it's Bane, Zion, and Brazel. Okay, so you got a wide receiver at 40, and you got 2 edge rushers, and you got Ruben Bane that allows you to move him down in the interior if you need to. So you could create a scenario where it's Karlaftis, Bane, Jones, and Zion as your front 4.
Dog. Compared to last year.
Rushing the passer.
Again, these are projections.
Yes.
These are hypotheticals. They could
compared to Karlaftis, Tillery, Jones, and Gelati.
It could end up being Glenn Dorsey and Tyson Jackson for all we know. But based on what we think those guys can be, just the difference of last year's 4 to that 4 is dramatic. It is.
Or it's Caleb Banks and Zion and Omar Cooper, insert wide receiver. So you go the 3 technique, big-time defensive tackle, game wrecker to eventually replace Chris Jones, and you have Jones and him lining up next to each other and a defensive end. And then Omar Norman Lott, you're hoping will eventually come back from the ACL as just a Turk Wharton player.
Correct.
So now it adds the depth to that defensive line.
And then your Mike Dana is going to be a rookie contract. Ashton Gelati, which is a fine player. That's your rotational piece. That's a guy you can count on. Not going to be a splash player, but a fine rotational piece.
Yep.
That
and
defensive line.
And you'd still have pick 74 and 109 in the 3rd and 4th rounds.
Dude.
Have the 10th pick of the 3rd and the 9th pick of the 4th round. Because that 9th pick of the 4th round, by the way, everybody resets their board after Friday. So you show up for the 3rd day on Saturday, they've got the 9th pick of the rest of the draft.
Yeah.
Of everybody that you reset your board from Friday night to Saturday from the 3rd round to the 4th, they're picking 9th in the 4th round. That's and now they have 3 5th rounders.
I still firmly believe whatever happens with the running back situation in free agency screams what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they want to count on Jeremiah Love being there at 9, and a trade up for Jeremiah Love to me is asinine, and I will actually have some strong thoughts if they traded up for a running back in the 1st round. But
unless he's Bijan.
You're saying you wouldn't love it?
I wouldn't love it. I wouldn't even like it. Like Etienne, they're probably out of the Love sweepstakes.
Right.
If it's Tyler Algier,
Rashad White, Gainwell, Algier, right, something like that.
Name a guy. We'll see. I mean, we're still there's 2 things, and one got less likely.
Yeah.
running back in free agency, what that looks like, and who it is. And the second one that got less likely, which I'm thrilled about, very much, in my opinion, less likely they rework the Chris Jones contract, which is giving me a lot of joy. Because I like Chris Jones, but I'm just saying I don't want to pay void years and extra money down the road for a 34-year-old D with the tackle.
Because we also have to add in the fact that the Chiefs took $13 million off the cap when they traded Trent McDuffie.
Correct.
So his 13 for this year was already counting with the cap. They just saved $13 million on the cap.
Now you've replaced
and
him
when
a
they
little
get rid of Jawan Taylor, they would then be about $30 million roughly under the cap to get ready before you go to restructuring contracts.
And the number I had, I believe, to sign the free agent class was at 12.
Yeah.
Was that the number I believe I had to sign a free agent
So you're
class?
looking
Or
at
not free agent, the rookie class.
Rookie class. Yeah. Well, you got to.
Well, now it's different because you have to add 29.
But we did that though.
We did do that. Yeah, I forgot
29.
about that.
We added 29, but we took away 9 though. We added a pick, but we took away like I can't remember what it was. But either way, we do need to add in 29 now, so it's going to be a little bit more. But they've got money.
Is it Sesame Street? I'm not good at
math.
It
is. Yes. This segment brought to you by
the letter 9, 9 and 29.
The letter 9. That is so perfect. Thank you, Sterling. This by the number B. More Zone next. You know, man, if you're out there and you're anything like me and you're in your 40s, maybe older, and you've been wondering what your testosterone level is. I had been wondering for a couple of years what my testosterone level was. In fact, about a decade I had been wondering that. Well, 2 years ago, I decided to go check that out at Heartland Men's Health to see what that number was. So I go and have the consultation appointment with them, got my results within 30 minutes, and it turns out that it was lower than what I originally guessed. And you know what? It was nice to know because it made a lot of sense to some of the symptoms that I was having. Well, not only with low testosterone at Heartland Men's Health, but also helping men go further with the 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. All you got to do is schedule that consult with Heartland Men's Health. The initial appointment cost $99. That includes medical consult, T, and PSA test. But if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit, it is free. Heartland Men's Health successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence, between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Featured therapies are compounded and have not been evaluated nor approved by the FDA. Provider prescription required. See website for details.
All right, we'll continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. We're going to talk with Mick Schaefer coming up at 1 o'clock. So Wednesdays at noon, we talk with Daniel Holmes. And that's what we're going to do right here. But the randomness, and I don't know if it's irony or it's coincidental, I'm not sure, bad timing, whatever you want to call it. This morning, Daniel had to switch some things around, and it did not work for his schedule to be on the show today. But we still wanted to talk to him, about, hey, we're a week away from free agency, things like that. So for the first time that we've talked with Daniel, it wasn't live. So we talk with Daniel and say, what if we tape it before the show? No big deal. Nothing's going to happen, right? It's all good. So this conversation is from 9 a.m. this morning that Daniel and I talked. A lot of it still is the same because we're talking about pick 9. We're talking about the value of what Jeremiah Love does. We're talking about the value of what a defensive end does. We're talking about the combine and what you take from it. There's still some things here that we discuss as what would be bigger impacts of defensive ends, defensive tackles, running backs, wide receivers. Those things still matter in the conversation, even to a higher degree because the Chiefs now have an extra few draft picks, but an extra first rounder for Trent McDuffie. So here's the conversation I had with Daniel Holmes, and I just simply start off with, man, how you feeling after last week's combine?
I'm just recovering. Last week was a lot of late nights and early mornings trying to get everything you can for the combine, but I'm doing great. We are now in that home stretch, like the lull. We got pro days, free agencies coming up for the Chiefs and for the rest of the NFL. Like, this is where we get to start to finalize that picture of what the Chiefs actually need going into the draft.
I want to get into some of those things. Do you have a takeaway from Combine number 3 for you? I think this was your third one, right? That's what you had said last week. So do you have a takeaway from this particular Combine or anything you gleaned or saw or learned from there?
Yeah, I think that the biggest thing that I saw is that we're getting fewer and fewer athletes participating in all the drills. And so every year they're going to keep saying, yeah, this is the fastest combine we've ever seen from all these athletes. Yeah, well, the only guys that are testing are the fast ones, because they know they're going to run fast and they've been training for it, and that's what you're going to see. So I think we need to try to take a grain of salt that maybe the athletes aren't necessarily getting faster. I think there are just fewer guys that are there to weigh down the times so everyone doesn't lose their minds over the athletic testing and things like that. Well, it's great to see that, and it's great to see the guys go out there and blow up the combine. We want to try to picture and envision what this actually means and what the prospects on the field do, because a lot of guys did test very, very well when it came to the on-field drills. They weren't necessarily as smooth. You can be fast and aren't necessarily smooth, so that's why the 3-cone drill has basically died. There's like maybe 5 or 10 players that actually do it anymore.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I saw the same thing. It's like, this is the fastest, and every year, I'm like, well, there's only like 11 people running. So, I mean, those guys are going to be pretty fast. And I'm not sure the athletes are necessarily getting faster, but that group is getting faster because there are fewer of them running and working out. Does that impact teams at all in your time covering the draft and being around it? If a guy doesn't work out at the combine, let's say even he's like, pro day. No, I'm good. I don't need to work out. My tape speaks for itself. Does that affect the team in any way, shape, or form? Does that do anything for them? Does it slide somebody down if it's quote-unquote not willing to compete? Or, the tape speaks for itself, and do we need some of these numbers and athletic testing to maybe back up what our eyes say? How do you think teams view that if a player's like, no, I'm good, I'm not working out?
Yeah, I think there's really two schools of thought with this. And on the negative side, you will see some scouts, you will see some teams say, well, he's clearly not going to run well because he didn't want to test. He came, he answered everything, he was in all the interviews, and maybe, like you said, maybe they're afraid to compete. I think it's a little bit more agents being involved in the process more and more. Like, you can get hurt. I mean, Traden Stukes ended up getting hurting his hamstring during that 40-yard dash that he ran, which was blistering, and but he ended up not able to compete on the on-field drills. And I think we're just seeing more and more of teams, or assuming that agents are trying to protect their players, and players like Ruben Bain, like, look, I just went through an entire college football playoff. You guys can see the tape. You can see all of that going up against some of the best competition. He was excellent, and I'm personally okay with that. I think where it starts to get to the tiebreaker process, right? You're going to have some players on day 2 that tested and some that didn't. I think it's going to be more used like a tiebreaker. It's like, well, we have the combine performance numbers here. He went through all the drills on the field. We have those athletic and those explosion numbers. He did all that as pro day, but he was in a comfortable environment. He was there. He was comfortable. In the combine, it is designed to make you uncomfortable. Quarterbacks are throwing to receivers they've never thrown to for the most part. You are going through an entire week of medicals, interviews, informal interviews where you can just be approached walking to a coffee shop and team comes up and talks to you for 10, 15 minutes. Like, it's an uncomfortable environment. So what do you think the NFL is going to be like? An uncomfortable environment for a very long time until you get used to it. So I do think that at the end of the day, it's going to impact more of a tiebreaker role for some of the prospects that you have pretty close on your board.
Visiting with Daniel Holmes, RGR Football and Bleacher Report. You guys put out a 3-round mock draft. I always love everybody's got their first round, but for the first time in a long time that I can remember, I'm like, no, what about the second round? Because the Chiefs pick 40th. So it's like they're kind of picking around where the first round mock draft used to be for the Chiefs. So you guys put out a 3-round mock draft. You come away with Jeremiah Love at number 9, Zion Young at number 40, and then Genesis Smith, the safety, in the 3rd round. Now, it was a collective group as opposed to some of the other mock drafts are like one person. Dane Brugler put out his, and Lance Zierlein puts out his, and this was collective. Were you specifically picking for the Chiefs when it came around to the Chiefs' time, or was it a collective, let's put our heads together and each individual pick?
So I was not picking for the Chiefs for the very first pick. They strapped me down to the chair, tied my mouth, and then forced me to listen as they discussed taking Jeremiah Love with the 9th pick overall. And again, I'm not here to say that I'm not drafting Jeremiah Love based on how the board goes. He's a great player, and I think he's great in Kansas City. But that's what they did. They would not let me pick for the Chiefs on the first pick, but I did have a lot of input on the 2nd and 3rd pick.
Okay, good to know. What was the conversation then that you were not allowed to partake in at pick number 9 when, the board, I mean, Reese is gone, Reese is gone. He's gone. Bain, you see a number of these, Bailey, these names that we talk about with the Chiefs a lot, and Tate. And, you're sitting there at number 9. What's the conversation going on when Tate goes right before him? Bain goes a couple of picks before him. A couple of offensive linemen are gone, whether that was something the Chiefs would be thinking about or not. Sonny Styles is gone. That's a guy, people like and have talked about. What's the conversation with Jeremiah Love at number 9?
Yeah, I think that, when we're looking for impact players, right, and I think if you talk to anybody, one of the most impactful, one of the best, if not top 2 or 3 player in the draft is Jeremiah Love. And I've seen a lot of comparisons. I don't necessarily agree with the Jamal Charles of it all. I see a lot of that being thrown around. But again, it's really hard for me to compare college football players to all-time greats. I think most of us think that Jamal Charles on the field is an all-time great, and it's hard for me to see that. So play style, sure. Like I can see the explosiveness, the pass catching ability, the ability to make guys miss in a phone booth and then just continue to accelerate and string moves together. All of that I can absolutely see. So I think those attributes tied to what Brett Veach talked about having an explosive run game and some of the plays where if you watch Jeremiah Love at Notre Dame and you're like, that would have been a negative 2-yard loss if it was in Kansas City last year, because you just don't have the explosiveness and the ability to make guys miss in the backfield and keep going with Isaiah Pacheco and Kareem Hunt, and they just wouldn't use Brashard Smith until the end of the season. So when it's all said and done, he is going to be an immediate impact player with whatever team that drafts him. And I think that the main conversation was Patrick Mahomes is coming off of an injury, and another really fun stat with Jeremiah Love, when he had like almost a 10-yard per rush average on light boxes. Who faces the most light boxes in the NFL?
Yep, Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes. It's one of the reasons why I've talked about that I get sort of annoyed when Bills fans don't include James Cook in the weapons for Josh Allen, when it's like, look at all the weapons Patrick Mahomes has. And it's like, well, he's got Pacheco. Well, that's a running back. Yeah. And it's light boxes he's facing as opposed to now Josh Allen's running ability affects that too, but James Cook doesn't allow for defenses to have light boxes that Josh Allen is going up against. That's a weapon that changes the looks that Allen / Mahomes have when they're dropping back to pass, and the Chiefs have not had that. So I do love like the Jamal Charles part of it, and I was thinking about this the other day, Daniel. I'm like, we've talked about before, maybe not you and I, but we as a collective sort of group of people that follow, cover, root for the Chiefs. And it's like, man, if you could, what would it look like if you just plugged in Jamal Charles to this offense? Like they would never punt. And then it's like, would you draft Jeremiah Love? What's the dumbest thing I've ever heard? Why would you ever do that and get Jeremiah Love at number 9? But imagine Jamal Charles on this team. Oh, my God, it'd be the greatest offense we've ever seen. It's a little disconnect there, but that obviously goes to the value, positional value, and things like that, which leads me to the question, Daniel, with Breece Hall being franchise tagged and he's getting, $14.3 million. Jonathan Taylor will be a free agent next year. The franchise tag for the running backs next year does not go up much. It only goes up to like 15 point something, so they could probably franchise him as well. But Bijan Robinson and Jahmyr Gibbs are up for contract extensions, and I'm guessing that's going to be around Saquon Barkley money for both of those guys. And so the way that I've sort of viewed it, Daniel, I'll get your thoughts on this, is when we're talking about running back at number 9, and this is not advocating for Jeremiah Love, but just simply looking at it from a cost acquisition perspective. When people are discussing the running back, it's like, well, you can fix the running back with this $8 or $9 million runner. Do you need Jeremiah Love at number 9? And then it's, well, Bain or Bailey, boom, you have fixed the defensive end spot. Well, what about Boye Mafe? Yeah, but Bain and Bailey are going to be way better than Boye Mafe. And Jeremiah Love's going to be way better than an $8 or $9 million back, even if it's ETN. And what I start to look at, Daniel, is shouldn't we be comparing Jeremiah Love to a $20 million running back if you're talking about what you would be getting? Because it's like if you get Bain on the open market, it's 25, 30. And Jeremiah Love in the open market now with running backs is going to be about 20, 21 million, what Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs and those guys get if he plays to potential, which is also, Daniel, what we're assuming with Bain and Bailey as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think that you're right about that. You have to assume, well, if you're drafting a running back in the top 10, that you're not getting end of the first, second round production. Because, I mean, Kenneth Walker was a second round or third round or day 2 pick. He was not a first round pick. And that's the market you're going to. Again, I didn't necessarily agree with it. I thought Kenneth Walker was probably worthy of a late first round selection. He was my running back one in that class. And that's the kind of player you're looking at. You're looking at somebody that's going to change the way that teams have to think about you defensively. While I like Travis Etienne, do you really think that if the Chiefs drop him into Kansas City that the defenses are just like, yeah, we can worry about that, but we're not changing the way that we think about it. Like, he's a good player, but I'm not that worried about Travis Etienne completely taking over a game because, again, I don't think that that's what you're seeing. I think you absolutely have to change the way you think for a Jeremiah Love. And, again, I'm not necessarily an advocate for drafting a running back at 9. Like, but we have to think of these things objectively. Yeah. So, like, if the Chiefs draft Jeremiah Love, am I going to be mad? No, because Patrick Mahomes is going to have the best running back he's ever seen in the backfield in his entire career. Yep. So that is something you have to really take into consideration. And because of the production, because of I saw something else as well. He's got like something like 400 touches in his career. Look at Ashton Genty, over 800 if we're coming out of college. The tread on the tires for a Jeremiah Love is way better than a lot of these running backs coming out as well. So there's that added element to this that doesn't get talked about enough, where he should be just fresh. And if you are going to bring in a B running back to give him a little bit of a breather like he had with Jadavian Price at Notre Dame, you're talking about somebody who can drastically change the dynamics of not just the run game, but the passing game, because he is an excellent pass catcher and explosive playmaker out of the backfield, too.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's about for me. It's like, do you get Carnell Tate or Lemon or Tyson over Jeremiah Love at number 9? I think people would say, okay, there's more value at wide receiver at number 9 with even the cost of number 2 wide receivers these days. But to me, it's whether it's Love or a wide receiver or whoever, Kenyon Sadiq, but whoever it is, to me, the NFL, Daniel, and you and I talked about it, I think the week leading up to the Super Bowl or coming out of the Super Bowl, whatever it was, of the NFL today is so predicated on, can you generate explosive plays? Can you limit explosive plays? And you've got offenses that can be stagnant, and then, boom, there's a home run. Where the Chiefs run a lot of plays and lead the league in plays per drive, but they don't generate explosive plays. And my sort of point is, does it matter if it's an explosive play throwing it to Carnell Tate or handing it off to Jeremiah Love? As long as it's an explosive play for the Chiefs offense, that's really all that matters, because they need those in a big-time way to reverse what we've seen the last couple of years and to give more of a breather to Patrick Mahomes. Maybe that breather is just throwing it to Carnell Tate or, Mekhi Lemon. Or that breather is handing it off to Jeremiah Love, like handing it off to James Cook and watching him go for 25 or 30 yards and go, what a great drive by Mahomes where Jeremiah Love picked up 80 yards and Mahomes threw that touchdown.
Yeah, just as much I think as it's about explosive, it's about being able to be a chameleon with your offense.
Yeah.
If you're going into a game plan where, it's Patrick Mahomes throwing it 45 times, but the defense is like, which we have seen, no, we're going to force you to go down the field, make as few mistakes as possible, and then when it gets into the red zone, you have to throw the ball to score. Or you get on the 1 yard line and Kareem Hunt punches it in and falls down for a touchdown. Those drives, they're just so hard, because as we've seen, the explosives, what happens? You score a touchdown, you're not on the field for 6 more plays, and penalties won't pile up. But a penalty derails a drive for Kansas City, because it is so minuscule for the room for error, being able to create a 20-yard play here, but then getting a penalty on the next one and going back. You can't consistently create those in the run game. You can't morph your offense to be able to take advantage of the light boxes that we were just talking about. So explosives are huge, which in the passing game you can still manufacture, which we have seen with Kansas City, but they have been so inept in the run game, which has forced the offense to have the offense to have such a heavy load on creating them, or Patrick creating them with his legs, that it's just unsustainable.
Yeah, I think listeners will get annoyed or tired of me bringing up this stat, but I think it's today's NFL. The teams that played in the championship games, those 4 teams, the Seahawks and Rams, the Patriots and Broncos, in explosive play differential, meaning the explosive plays you generate and the explosive plays you limit, kind of like turnover differential. Explosive play differential, Seahawks number 1, Rams number 2, Patriots number 4, Broncos number 5. The Packers were number 3. 4 of the top 5 played in their championship games for their conference. That's simply what today, the Patriots are the worst red zone team in football, but they didn't allow explosive plays. They didn't allow a lot of teams to get into the red zone. It's just, to me, explosive plays in the NFL today, Daniel, it's like three-point shooting in basketball when it was, pace and space. It's like, all right, three-point shooting is now changing the calculus, and it's like, okay, can you generate some of these things? And teams are playing deeper. They're especially against the Chiefs, they're faster, they're smaller, they're smarter than they've ever been, and they are limiting explosive plays. Teams are trying to limit how many three-pointers you can make in a game. But if you are a team that can knock down a bunch of threes, it changes the calculus, and we're seeing teams that are advancing are the ones that are limiting and creating explosive plays. And you have the Chiefs that, at times have created some explosive plays, but man, it's a lot of, look at what Patrick Mahomes did to create that explosive play.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. And that's exactly what we're trying to limit, right? We're trying to see how long you can extend the shelf life of Patrick Mahomes, coming off of an injury too. How best can you make his job easy for him? Yes, it's great that Patrick can read the defenses and change the play of the passing play to get what he wants, or he knows where he's supposed to go with the football. But why do you want him to play Madden on all Madden difficulty all the time? Like, that's just not fun. I guarantee you it's not fun for him. Sometimes he must have handed off to running back and watch him go 50 yards for a touchdown and be like, hey, I don't have to run 25 yards to keep extending a drive on 3rd and 15. So, absolutely.
Remember the Chad Henne 99-yard drive when Mahomes left the game against the Jags in the divisional round, and like 80 of those were handoffs?
And then one, you see Isaiah Pacheco run in the back of the offensive line and still find the explosive.
And then busted outside. And what a great run by Pacheco. Yeah.
Okay.
But it ends with Henne throwing the touchdown to Kelsey. And that's what we remember. It's like, oh, man, Chad Henne with that 99-yard drive. Yeah, I know. It was pretty awesome. Daniel Harms is our guest. So at that in the mock draft, when pick number 9 comes up, if you break out of, the straitjacket and rip the duct tape off your mouth at pick number 9, who are you going with then if it's not or maybe it is Jeremiah Love. But right after Love was Caleb Downs and Mansour Delaney, LSU, TJ Parker, which, by the way, TJ Parker, I haven't seen him in the top 20 of many drafts. And I saw him going number 40 to the Chiefs, and I was like, oh, my God, thank you. That'd be amazing. But who would you go with at number 9 if the draft fell the way that it did in your guys' exercise?
I mean, I'm still probably going with Love in this situation. I'm a big Caleb Downs guy, but I think for what the Chiefs – I still think the Chiefs want Jaden Hicks to be that guy. Like, I'm still there. So as much as I would personally want to draft him, I'm trying to project a little bit more into what I think they'll do. And because of the running back, I guess, gravity that we're talking about, free agency still hasn't happened yet. It's hard to really project what they're going to do. They've been linked to Walker. They've been linked to Travis Etienne. Like they're trying to help the running back room. I think, the more and more I've talked about it, the more I definitely want to see Patrick Mahomes get something taken off his plate. And most of the time, I take Jordan Tyson because I still think he's the best wide receiver in the class.
That's my guy.
And by the way, I've also heard that the medicals came back all clean on him. He's greenlit from the combine. So that's huge for him. That was the big thing. It wasn't testing. It was getting the medicals clear, and he's good to go. But Jeremiah Love is a lot of fun, and every now and then I'm okay taking a running back that high.
So let me ask you this then. Daniel Harms is our guest, and Dane Brugler has his draft out as well in The Athletic. He has a 2-round mock draft in which the Chiefs take Bain and then Tennessee wide receiver Bazell that has, is moving up draft boards and everything, and has him going number 40. But right after Ruben Bain is selected, Mekhi Lemon goes. So just, insert wide receiver, whether it's Tyson or Lemon, because Carnell Tate is gone in his draft. But right after the Chiefs take Bazell, the Bengals take Zion. So what I wanted to ask you, Daniel, is do you take the combo of Bain and Bazell or Tyson and Zion?
That's a tough question. But if
I'll take either. I mean, right now I'll take either. But
yeah, right. If you just, I'm happy. Like I'm happy either way. But for me, the best overall player is Ruben Bain.
Okay,
he is the best overall player of all the 4 that were picked. And I'm here to tell you that Chris Brazzell is not your normal Tennessee wide receiver. That he does not. He plays the way a wide receiver at his size should play in terms of route running. He's actually really, really tall, but he sinks his hips. He can get in and out of breaks quickly. He creates minuscule, like little openings on the outside with intention to be able to move defenders just out of that hip pocket and present to the quarterback for opportunities down the field. He has speed as well to win over top, and he's going to be like an X receiver on the outside, somebody that can still win against man coverage, where obviously Jordan Tyson is my guy. I want him everywhere. So he can do everything. Z, slot, X, do whatever you want to, but you got to learn to play a little bit more physically. But Zion Young's a lot of fun. Don't get me wrong. He's 6'6", 260-something pounds. He's 262 pounds with 33-inch arms, and that is the prototypical edge that Spags wants. He wants to have that guy on the opposite, specifically I think of George Karlaftis. But I think in this situation, give me Ruben Bain.
Let me throw a wrench in here because this is what I would like to see. Okay, and I know I didn't give you this option, but now I'm creating the option.
Yeah.
This is what I would like to see. Chiefs are on the board at pick 40, and the board lands the way that it does, and Ruben Bain is already the first-round pick. I want to see Brett Veach put the sunglasses on, take all of his chips, move him into the center, and say, here's the card for Zion Young. And go Bain and Zion and say, bleep that, we are going to wreck every offensive line we go against.
Honestly, again, if you don't address defensive end in free agency, I have zero problem with that. I'm not going to be mad about it, especially if you go into free agency and just give him a wide receiver, give him a safety, bring in another linebacker, just make it so they can do whatever the hell they want to. And drafting 2 defensive ends, and I know some people are really excited about what Ashton Gelati can become. I was never a huge fan of Gelati. He did have a lot of effort, which you love to see. But if you give me a defensive end room with George Karlaftis, Ruben Bain, Zion Young, and Ashton Gelati, I feel so much better about that situation.
Yeah, and maybe Omar Norman-Lott, comes back from the ACL, and you got Chris Jones there. I don't know, maybe they went and paid for John Franklin Myers. I'm just throwing some things out here, okay? And just like
that's all we can do before free agency.
Right. They go from one of the worst defensive lines, and maybe without Chris Jones, maybe a defensive line that might have ranked 34th in the NFL. Even some like Seattle's backup defensive lineman might have been better than the Chiefs
definitely.
Without Chris Jones too. Wow, they've got game wreckers all over the defensive line. So that would be interesting, and I'd be totally fine if they were to go that route. Last one for you, Daniel Harms, because we're talking running back. Next time we talk, it'll be the opening of free agency. Legal tampering will have been going on for a couple of days. We know Breece Hall is now, that conversation for him is going to start at 14.3. He's got till July, so they don't have to get anything done right now with him. But I'm assuming that raises the price of Kenneth Walker or Travis Etienne. Are you still on board with we asked you, I think like a month ago, and it was Kenneth Walker, but you also threw out Brian Robinson. Would you go Kenneth Walker, Etienne, if the price is raised a little bit more now that Breece Hall is not transitioned but franchised? Or do you go cost-effective at the running back spot and maybe allocate resources somewhere else?
I think if you're going cost-effective, if we see the Chiefs go cost-effective, I would almost be willing to bet that Jeremiah Love is the pick at 9 if he's there. But that's the thing, right? You're playing a betting game.
Yeah.
And after what he did at the Combine, I think he's going to be a top 5 pick. I can't guarantee he's going to be there. And as much as I like Jadarian Price, his running mate and the RB2 in the class, some of these other guys, Mike Washington, big, fast guy, has a big fumbling problem, 12 fumbles in his career. The Wake Forest running back, Damon Claiborne, is a really, really fast guy too, but I don't really know much about what he's going to offer right away. We know I'm pretty confident in what Jeremiah Love's going to be. If you play the mystery box game and you go cost-effective at running back, you don't really know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of ways the Chiefs can get to $60 million in cap space. If you spent $12, $13 million on a running back in free agency, but you guarantee yourself somebody who is proven in the NFL, I'm all about it.
Yep.
I'm all about it. I'm going to take Kenneth Walker every single time.
Yep, I'm with you. Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Daniel, cannot wait for next week when we've got a couple of days of rumors and teams talking and discussing, and then we will be talking about free agency opening up when we have you on the show, which will then bring in the next few weeks, more and more of focused mock drafts as we know what teams are doing in free agency. We'll see what happens. Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Go check out the mock draft that they have up there. Daniel, you're the man. Really appreciate the time, brother.
Thank you guys so much. It's going to be so much fun next week. I can't wait.
There he is, Daniel Harms, RGR Football Bleacher Report. Go check out that mock draft that's up there at Bleacher Report. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk with Nick Schaefer at 1 o'clock. More Zone next. All right, thank you to Daniel Holmes, RGR Football Bleacher Report. As we said before we played the interview, the first time we've ever talked with Daniel Holmes, we had to tape it at 9 o'clock today. So perfectly timed for us to get that conversation in to talk about everything that would have been discussed pre-Trent McDuffie. Have that last and final pre-Trent McDuffie trade conversation. That's what we wanted to do. So after Trent McDuffie and all the talk we have been having around the McDuffie trade, we wanted to remind everybody of what it was like at 10:40 today to have a conversation about the Chiefs at 10:40. Before the conversation completely changed with the Chiefs trading Trent McDuffie to the Los Angeles Rams, which we have been saying for about a month that the team that made the absolute most sense for a number of reasons was the Rams. We said they had pick 13 or 16 and 29. That we also said the Cowboys have a couple of draft picks, but the Rams had 2 first-rounders, had the 9th most cap space. Their number one need was cornerback. He's from L.A., and the Rams are one of 7 teams that have to spend $50 million more to be cap compliant on the 3-year rolling salary cap. Ian Rappaport tweeting out a half hour ago, when Trent McDuffie gets his new contract, which should be soon. Now think about that with the Chiefs. Think about this with the Chiefs, folks. We're talking about, do you want to extend Trent McDuffie or do you want to trade him? This is what you'd be looking at. When Trent McDuffie gets his new contract, which should be soon, it's likely he's the new highest paid cornerback in the NFL at more than $30.1 million. What did we say? We said this last week with Matt Derrick. Brett Veach said, first out of the gate, Trent McDuffie. And we joked about, well, where's Les Snead? He's not here? You got to call Les Snead? Like, you're there at the Combine to talk with some of these agents / GMs and coaches, and the team that we feel like makes the most sense ain't even there. So I guess they'll just have to Zoom or call him, whatever. But on Friday with Matt Derrick, I said, if we go back and look at last offseason, and let's look at this logically, realistically. Last offseason, the 2 sides talked. They did not come to an agreement on a contract extension. Do you think if Trent McDuffie and his side got every single dollar they wanted, they would have told the Chiefs, no thank you, we'll wait 1 more year? Yeah. They talked, and you know what they talked about? What each side was sort of looking at. What the Chiefs were feeling, and here's what Trent McDuffie's camp was feeling. And if the Chiefs said, boom, done, that's what we're willing to pay you, they would have signed the deal. So last year, the Chiefs didn't feel like it was close enough to really start negotiations because it's like, well, here's what we're looking at right now that we can do. And they're saying, boy, we want to be the highest paid corner in the NFL. Okay, so we picked up the 5th-year option on him, and we're going to play on the 4th year. And then we can readdress this next year to see where we're at. There is no way Trent McDuffie and his camp returns to the Chiefs and says, we'll take less. We'll drop our asking price. And there's no way that the Chiefs approach Trent McDuffie's camp after this past season and say, you know what, we're going to increase our price after this, what was the lesser of the last 3 years. All-Pro in 2023 at slot. Second team All-Pro in 24. Nothing this last year, All-Pro / Pro Bowl of the kind for Trent McDuffie. You aren't increasing your money to meet them. So therefore, what's the most likely scenario? Neither side budges. Is there somebody that is so needy at cornerback, has the resource and the cap space to say, we can fit that in the cap. It won't hurt us like it will the Chiefs to sign this deal. Sounds a lot like the Rams. So I was not thinking the Chiefs would extend Trent McDuffie. We've talked about this the last couple of weeks. I've said I think the Chiefs will end up trading Trent McDuffie. It doesn't make sense for them to talk last offseason, not come to an agreement, and then after the season he had, come to an agreement. Because he wants to be the highest paid cornerback in the league. Whether that's realistic or not, that's what he wants. And if he wants to be the highest paid cornerback in the league, I'm hoping it's not in Kansas City. It'd be great if he was in Kansas City if the cap didn't exist. But you can't continue to pay every single player at the top of their market. Now, you paid guard, you paid linebacker, not at the top, but you paid center, all of that stuff.
I mean, they made their choice. They made their choice, I think, when they paid Nick Bolton, Karlaftis, and Trey Smith. They made their choice. How you view that's up to you, up to the person, but they chose, to an extent, positions that maybe they don't always draft quite as well. They've done a really good job at cornerback, and they've shown they're not going to really pay cornerback. And two, they also valued two lesser premium positions in guard and middle linebacker.
Yeah. And
which is intriguing.
Yeah. Sauce Gardner's making 30.1. This is, it's just average annual value. That's not the highest in terms of practical guarantees. Derek Stingley Jr. is the highest in practical guarantees at $89 million. I'm guessing that's probably where Trent McDuffie wants to come in around. Now, that Stingley deal was $89 million practical guaranteed on a 3-year deal for $90 million. So it's $48 million guaranteed at signing, $89 million practically guaranteed. So essentially, it's as close to a 3-year fully guaranteed contract Derek Stingley got. After that, Sauce Gardner, $85.4 million practical guaranteed of his $120 million contract. Pat Surtain, $77.5 of his $96 million contract. Probably somewhere around the Surtain to Sauce, maybe above Sauce, maybe not Stingley, where it's damn near all guaranteed. So you might be looking at 4 years, $120.8 million, and $86 million of it guaranteed, which would make him the highest annual average value, the highest total value, and the second highest practical guaranteed dollars. Okay. Seems to be maybe something the Rams would be willing to do. The Chiefs, I don't think, should have been willing to do that.
Again, highest paid guard, center,
cornerback, defensive tackle.
Defensive tackle. If Travis Kelce comes back, he'll be top 10.
Hopefully not. I mean, I hope he's at $10 million. Hopefully he's $7 million.
Yeah, sure.
But that sort of depends. We'll see.
There's
oddly enough, not the highest paid quarterback. Oddly enough, not the highest paid quarterback. The one that would be deserving.
Not a rookie contract.
I know, but the one that would be deserving is the guy who's not actually the highest at his position. I want to read this from yesterday in The Athletic. This was a story that was done by Nate Atkins, who covers the Los Angeles Rams. And this was released this morning, actually, not yesterday. This was released this morning, March 4th, 5 a.m. A conversation with Les Snead. So I'm assuming writers sat around and had conversations with the GM. Oftentimes, writers, other media members will sit around and have a conversation with Brett Veach off by themselves in a different room, away from the podium, for some reason. So here's what comes from that. The money that they have, the picks that they have. And he gets into what the Rams may be doing this offseason. He starts off by saying the Los Angeles Rams are open for business. Stafford is back. Staff is filled out. Free agency's a week away. And it's time to explore aggressive avenues. That appears to be on the horizon. Les Snead said, that's what we've been doing the past couple of weeks. Nate Atkins writes, not new territory for Snead and the Rams. They became known for the catchphrase, F them picks. Rams paid a price for being aggressive in the draft, Then they traded their first pick last year, What does impact look like for this team? Snead and Sean McVay have identified one clear position group that needs a talent influx, outside cornerback. This is from this morning. It's the only premium position the Rams have not invested in lately, though last year's group had some nice moments, ultimately fell short in Sam Darnold's breakout performance. For a team with the number one scoring offense, a resource-filled pass rush, and new contract extensions for linebacker Nate Landman, safety Quentin Lake, Snead knows he needs to take a swing at that spot to avoid another season ending in what if. Les Snead wondered Tuesday, is there an all-pro cornerback you could add? That would be nice. That was yesterday. Nate Atkins writes, in fact, there is one All-Pro cornerback who could be a trade candidate this offseason, Trent McDuffie of the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know what took place in the conversation that Les Snead had with the members of the media of the Rams. But if I'm looking at how things sometimes work around the league, I can picture a conversation that he's having with some, maybe even just Nate Atkins, and talking about, look, here's the deal. Here's what we're going to be pretty aggressive. Okay. It's not a done deal, but we would like to acquire Trent McDuffie. It's something that we're talking about. I'll let you know when it's kind of a done deal and we're hammering out details, and then you can sort of publish it if you want to. Or it's just we're going to be aggressive. There are certainly some names out there that you guys have heard of, and we need an all-pro cornerback. Is there an all-pro cornerback out there? Boy, that'd be nice. I don't know, guys. I don't know, Jim. Is there an all-pro cornerback out there?
An all-pro outside cornerback.
That's exactly right. He said outside corner earlier in this particular story.
L'Jarius Sneed.
Yes.
I guess he was an all-pro.
Mm-hmm. At the end of the day, did he talk to Eric Bieniemy? Les Snead said at the end of the day, it's all of us doing the after-action review with the coaching staff coming in and saying, hey, maybe these are tweaks to what we're trying to accomplish on the back end from a scheme standpoint. So that was the story this morning in The Athletic, in the conversation with Les Snead yesterday about being aggressive this offseason to maximize how many years or year they have left with Matthew Stafford at quarterback. They've got 2 first-rounders. That first-rounder may not have as much of an impact with Stafford at quarterback this year or next year as, I don't know, an all-pro cornerback would. So there you go. We know that when a deal comes together like this, they didn't just start talking this morning or yesterday. The first out of the gate was McDuffie. That was a week ago today. He said tomorrow. That was on a Tuesday. Tomorrow was Wednesday. That was last week. Wednesday was first out of the gate. And what did we say when Ian Rappaport said the Chiefs are talking with the Rams about a trade for Trent McDuffie that would involve pick number 29? We read that and we said what? The Chiefs have already traded Trent McDuffie to the Rams.
Again, Jalen Watson, I think, knew yesterday when he said, damn.
And Patrick, because who would know first if McDuffie's like, hey man, I'm heading to the Rams. Not sure where you're going to go, Jalen. I know you're a free agent. I can tell you a team that is in need of a lot of cornerback help. Multiple corners. I don't know. Don't know if you're interested in playing with the Rams or not, but I'm not going to be with you. It's been fun. It's been great. Damn. But also, Jalen Watson, you're not a Chief either. Like, you're a free agent. Like, odds were Watson and McDuffie. In fact, the odds are better now that Watson and McDuffie will play on the same team. Now that McDuffie is a Ram.
I guess.
They weren't going to play together on the Chiefs.
No, I agree. I think Watson will get re-signed. Again,
right, but the odds are better in that because the Chiefs were not going to have McDuffie and Jalen Watson on the team this next year. The odds are better, slim, but I think any chance would have been outside of Kansas City for those two guys to play together still.
Are you surprised? Maybe not, because you want to get this figured out either way. It maybe doesn't matter at all, and there was no way of making this perfect. You almost wanted to extend Watson before you traded McDuffie, because now Watson and his agent has more power. And maybe it doesn't matter at all. Maybe does not make a difference at all.
Well, the price was going to be the price, regardless.
Yeah, was the price, or was it, hey, now you really need a cornerback, and I was going to cut you a slight something.
I think the teams are still going to offer what those teams are going to offer him. The question would be, do you want to return to Kansas City where you know the defense, you know the system, you know your way around town, you know your way to the facilities, you know all the coaches, you know all of those things.
There's barbecue.
Exactly. There's a familiarity with
a great radio station that will
100%. Yes. Or, you know what, explore something new. You go somewhere else. and you play for that team. That's certainly a choice that you have. The question is, can you get Watson and Cook for the same price you were just going to get McDuffie?
Yes.
Because if you can do that, you get Watson and Cook for the same price of McDuffie.
So they're too quick.
While getting 29, 168, 210, and the third round pick next year.
I said that too quick. I think they'll be close. I think Watson and Cook will be about 1 to 2 million AAV over.
So they'll be about 31 or 32 million combined?
Correct. I think Cook probably is around 15, and I think Watson's probably around 16, 17. If Watson signed a 3 for 51.
If Cook's 15, then I would say you'd have to wave bye-bye.
Well, I think he's going to be. I mean, he's the number one.
So go to Curl then.
He's the number
go to
one.
Curl from the Rams.
Sure, but he's the number one safety right on the free agent market.
It's fine. Go get Cam Curl then. If Cook's going to leave, then go get Cam Curl.
What do you think? What do you think Cook's going to be?
I mean,
I get safety. I get, but
Justin Reed signed 3 years, $10 million. And
but I'll be honest with you.
Is Cook better than Justin Reed at this point last year? What I don't think he is.
Last year, probably not, but he is younger. This would have been like when Justin Reed signed the first contract in KC.
Justin Reed's only 27 last year when he hit free agency. I'm not sure how I should look and know how old Brian Cook is. I don't know off the top of my head.
I want to say he's like 24.
Yeah,
Brian Cook.
I thought it was
What's 4 years in the league? I mean, I don't think
25.
he was.
Let me check. I thought it was 25.
I thought it was 26. I thought he was 20.
He's 26.
Like I said, 26. So he's a half year younger. He'll turn 27 in September. So roughly the same age Justin Reed was when he signed his 3-year, $30 million contract last year.
Yeah.
I would rather have Reed than Cook. What I think Reed did for this defense.
I'd still rather have Reed now, I think,
right.
than Cook. Yeah.
But other teams may disagree.
Sure.
And so Reed isn't available because he's under contract. Cook's the one that's out there. Is Cam Curl closer to Justin Reed than Brian Cook is? I don't know. Brian Cook had his best year last year. And if that was, well, now he's healthy, or it was Spags that told him, and Spags said, and Brian Cook talked about it, that Spags said, play more free.
Yeah.
Play instinctual football. Take chances. Read, react, play football, dude. Get out of your head and just go play, fly downfield. How many times did we see Brian Cook at the line of scrimmage this last year making tackles? Maybe more than we've seen him in his entire career. I don't really ever remember seeing number 6 often at the line of scrimmage, especially on some of those wide receiver screens where he was everywhere last year. He played that position and played it well. Earned himself a nice contract. Maybe the highest paid safety in free agency. I don't know. But I can't find myself paying 3 years, $45 for Brian Cook when I didn't pay 3 for $30 for Justin Reed.
Oh, I don't argue,
what I mean?
I don't argue that point with you. Again, it would be nice because the hope, I think, would have been that Jaden Hicks took a step forward, but I don't think you can count on. Again, I think the plan was originally, well, Brian Cook hasn't looked great. We'll be okay if we move on. Hicks is going to take over, and you have Hicks and Connor. Well, Hicks didn't take that step forward, and Brian Cook was a guy that looked amazing, and now you're sitting back going, well, you didn't get it wrong, but I think that the player that you thought was going to step up was not the one that you wanted nor needed to.
Good point.
And now you're stuck between what do you do? Again, if I can only have one of them, I'm still choosing Watson because I think cornerback is more valuable.
Yeah. I
just do.
Quentin Lake re-signed with the Rams as a 26-year-old for 3 years, 38 and a quarter, so 12.75 per year.
Is he smaller?
I mean, he's younger, and so as guys grow, typically they get bigger, I think. You know, that's what my son thinks.
No, I wasn't trying to.
My son, or my daughter especially, who's in first grade, is really excited to see how tall I'll be when I'm like 60.
No, he's 6'1", 2. Okay, so yeah, doesn't matter.
Gosh, I wonder how big you're going to be as you keep getting older. I'm pretty set right here. No, I mean, everybody grows as they get older. They keep getting taller and taller.
Maybe not. Maybe
Wembanyama's going to be like 150.
Wait till you tell her they shrink when you get older.
Is Victor Wembanyama 150 years old? He just keeps growing.
So maybe I'm wrong then. Maybe I'm too bullish on Cook's open market. I just, again, my first reaction when I was thinking of what he was going to get was 3 for 45.
He could. I mean, Javon Holland got 3 for 45 last year.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of what you're going. Lake re-signed to stay there. He wasn't a full free agent where everybody was bidding for his services. So Holland went 3 for 45 last year. Morig at Carolina went 3 for 51. Just looking at the ones last year. Cameron Bynum for Indianapolis went 4 for 60, so $15 million per year.
Yeah.
So, Kyle Hamilton re-signed at 4 for 100, but that's Kyle Hamilton.
That's Kyle Hamilton, yeah.
Not Brian Cook.
He's
Kirby
own.
Joseph in Detroit, not Brian Cook, 4 for 86. That's $21 million per year.
Man, that still seems high for Kirby Joseph.
Yeah.
Safety is starting to really.
They're starting to get more money.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a 1 year to the next. I would not be in favor of the Chiefs saying, Brian Cook, here's 3 years, $45 million. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Mick Schaefer next.
Twitter thinks he's funny.
Shame on you nerds.
His wife and kids think he's lame.
No!
We couldn't get Paul, so we're stuck with Mick.
Yep. Okay, still got it going on.
Mick Schaefer on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
Hold your ears, folks. It's showtime.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, hanging out with Mick Schaefer. He is presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. My son had his birthday party there.
You gotta find a new bit.
Or do we?
Find a new kid.
Or do we? Do we? Do we need to? I don't know, Jim.
I know, Mick.
Yeah.
You know,
we
Mick?
should move on. It could be like your daughter's quinceanera.
Oh,
that should be
that'd be amazing. Yes, she had her quinceanera there.
At age 6 or whatever she is.
Mick, what did you think of the Trent McDuffie trade for a first, a third, a fifth, and a sixth?
Look, I don't like covering a team that signed George Karlaftis to a second deal, but got rid of Trent McDuffie. But that being said, I think it's a great haul. 3 more picks this year, I think totally changes the draft at a lot of positions, including 9. My head's spinning. I'm like, does that make him more likely to take a running back or not? More likely to trade up or maybe trade down? Where are we at here? And I'm sure that's what Brett Veach loves, all the options. And so I think it's a best case scenario. I think you can, turn what was really a really good player who maybe was muted last year because of no pass rush, right? Who can cover for 4 seconds? Even the great ones can't. And so I think it's a good deal for Kansas City, a really good deal. And I think it really changes, obviously, the outlook and the landscape of this draft for Kansas City, which was kind of going to be like just kind of. And I figured they would eventually get more picks, but at 6 picks, it was going to be, okay, you get excited about the 9th pick and then the 40th. And then after that, okay, a team that doesn't have depth, you really won't be able to add to that depth because of how few picks you have.
So Sam McDowell tweets out, the Trent McDuffie trade came down to the Rams and the Giants. Said, in the end, the Rams were the team willing to give up first round plus. Well, that's interesting because the Giants, like the Rams had pick 13 and they had pick 29. So they had 2 first rounders. Plus they had their second rounder. Plus they had 2 fifth rounders. They had a number of picks there.
What else more had the Giants and the Chiefs swapped 9 and 5? What else more would the Giants have had to give up?
They would have had to give up like 37 and some other. Like the Giants have pick 5, 37. They don't have a third rounder. And then they have pick 105 in the 4th and 144 in the 5th. So they've got a first, a second, and a 4th. But that first rounder is pick number 5. So they're not going to give up pick number 5 for Trent McDuffie. So therefore, unless they were saying, we'll give you our second and next year's first.
And next year's first, and we swap.
But that would be the Rams were the only team willing to give up a first round plus. Yeah. So maybe the Giants were saying, we'll give you a first rounder in 2027. But we're not going to give you a first rounder this year.
I love the Giants' first round pick next year.
Which, by the way, Giants' first rounder is probably going to be better than pick number 29 next year. But is it going to be better than pick number 29? That would equal a third, a fifth, and a sixth. Probably. But it's a bird in the hand right now, a first, third, fifth, and sixth this year. First, fifth, and sixth this year, adding a third next year. The Chiefs go from 6 picks in the draft, not a lot of maneuvering, to now they've got 9 and 3 in the top 40 that they can go and move around.
That's the sneaky one, that second round pick that you never have had to like. I mean, you worry about it, but you never really champion it because it's always at like pick 60 for Kansas
It's like
City.
in the 60s.
It's at 40 now. I keep forgetting.
We talked about last year.
It's the 8th pick of the second round.
Remember last year at this time, we're like, do the Chiefs trade back from 31 to like, I don't know, 40 and pick up an extra third rounder? So then they would get an extra
third. Their third pick.
That's their third pick. Like you can get a third rounder by sliding back to 40. Now your third pick in the draft or second, I don't know, could be pick 40, depending on what they do. Like it also gives them ability with having 3 fifth rounders now, having the third, having the 4th that they did have, but having the third next year that they can. Because remember, Joe Tooney's third round pick that they traded for is the 2026.
I was not going to.
Excuse me, 4th
that,
rounder.
By the way,
4th rounder. Joe Tooney's 4th rounder that they got from the Bears was for this upcoming draft, for the 2027 draft. But they traded it last year to move up and get Noel Williams. Well, which is kind of funny, in that moving up to get Noel Williams, they moved up and traded with the Patriots, and the Patriots, in order to do the deal, required the Chiefs' 4th rounder, not the Bears' 4th rounder.
Yeah.
Which is now a worse 4th round pick.
Yes.
The Chiefs luckily kept their own 4th. The Patriots like, we'll take a 4th rounder, but we want the Bears pick that you got for Joe Thuney, and the Chiefs were like, okay, not knowing. Like, at the time, they were probably like, okay,
maybe just because of that, they tanked the season. We'll show the Patriots.
Take that, Ryan Poles. Okay, all right. You're not invited over to my house for dinner ever again. From the view of Brett Veach, so the Chiefs took that pick that they had in the 26th draft and traded it to move up in the 25 draft. They have the 3rd round of the 27th, which they could certainly use to move up and maneuver the 2026 draft. If, let's say, pick number 7, Bain's on the board, and they're going, we're at 9, let's move up and give them 2027 3rd rounder, and let's go get Ruben Bain and make sure we're getting somebody that we feel like is a true difference maker right now. So now we've still got 9 picks in this draft. At pick 7, 29, 40, 74, and on. We just don't have 2/3 to start the 2027 draft, but we have Ruben Bain on our defensive line.
That's a great point, too. I think there could be, for the Chiefs' needs, it could be a world of difference picking at 9 and 7 this year. I think you could. It felt like all the scenarios I was looking at, like, God, this ends. All the Chiefs' best guys end at 7, or they end at 8, and I think it could be drastically different. Granted, it's the NFL draft; you never know what's going to happen. But I think that could be, those 2 spots could be huge for them.
Well, and when they traded Tyreek Hill, they traded for pick 29, and then they had 31. And they traded pick 29 to move up to 22 to get Trent McDuffie. Now they've got pick 29, again, from the Rams.
If you look at it this way, you're like, hey, can you turn 29 into a Trent McDuffie type player? And then that 5th and 6th rounder, you roll the dice, you hope you get 1 starter out of those 2 picks. It ends up being a good deal for you.
They spent a 1st rounder on Trent McDuffie.
It's a big draft. I mean, there's a lot of pressure.
100%.
A lot of pressure.
You got to get him right. But that pick, how right that pick was, they spent a 1st rounder on Trent McDuffie. They got 4 years of high-level play out of Trent McDuffie, and then they got a 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 6th back for him after getting those 4 years of 2 years of all-pro play, and then got the 4 picks back, including a 1st rounder. That's a hell of a pick by the Chiefs in 2022. That's as right of a pick as you're going to get at that position to get that play and then that return back to where you're sort of resetting now. What you can do yet again, just as you did with Tyreek Hill. They came close to getting the Tyreek Hill trade. Tyreek Hill, it was a 1st, 2nd, 2 4ths, and a 6th. This is a 1st, a 3rd, a 5th, and a 6th. It's close. Mm-hmm. And the 3rd and the 2nd don't really cancel each other out. 2 4ths and a 6th, it's a 5th and a 6th. But it was, both of them were, oddly enough, pick 29 in that particular draft that they got from Miami and then the Los Angeles Rams in the trade. So I didn't think they would come close to the Tyreek Hill trade. I didn't think they would come close to the Sauce trade, which they really didn't, because the 16 pick is such a higher value in the trade value charts than pick number 29. Like, all of these picks combined, including pick 29 at the different trade draft value charts, doesn't equal the number 16 pick.
Yeah. Well, so the Colts did it midseason where the Colts thought they were going to be good.
But that's the point. The Colts had, here's the thing, though, Sterling. I went and looked at it. It's a great point. I wanted to bring this up, so good call. The Colts had the best record in football when they made the trade.
Yeah.
There's no way that the Jets said, we want 2 first-rounders from you, Indianapolis. And they said, yeah, I guess we're going to have to give up 2 first-rounders because we're going to have to give up 16 and then some. The Colts were saying, all right, we're probably going to be 28, 29. 29, 30 would be nice. That means we played in the championship game. But maybe a divisional round is 27, 28. We're going to give up 28. And the Jets are saying we're not going to settle for just 28. All right, we'll give you the first-round draft pick after that, which is not going to be good either, because that's going to be late 20s, because we're going to be pretty good. So I think the Jets...
Where are they picking?
16. And whatever their pick is next year.
Yeah.
So I think the Jets were saying, we're not going to settle for pick 28 just for Sauce. And it turned into 16. That's the unknown. We know for a fact now it's pick 29. But that's the point, Sterling, is when the Colts made that trade, they had the best record at 7-2 in football.
Hear that, Mick? I know ball.
Yeah.
Football.
Yeah.
Football. What is football? Oh, that is football.
I just wanted to piss you off. I don't get what the Colts
Mission accomplished.
I don't get what the Colts are doing, man. They did all that.
Transitioning Daniel Jones.
And
That's right.
They want to apparently re-sign and like overpay for Alec Pierce, but like let's move on from Michael Pittman Jr. They're winging it over there. They're just They gave a 9-year-old the controllers and said, "Have fun."
They gave Ballard the control, right?
I mean, it's Ballard, yes. I think he's older.
49-year-old.
Yeah, he's older than 9. But yeah, so the Chiefs get more back than I really thought they would. And now what it does is, let me ask you this, Mick, because Sterling and I talked about this in the previous hour. Not if you were, don't know if you were advocating for or against Jeremiah Love, but we both feel it makes it more palatable. At number 9, if you take Jeremiah Love, it's like, okay, well, you still have pick 29 and 40 to address the defensive line, where you were kind of thinking you'd address the defensive line if you went to deep in the playoffs. Does it make it more palatable for you to take Love at number 9?
It does, but then I think, okay, that could make them less likely to do that. And you could do the fall back on the second best running back at 29 or 40. And then I'm like, maybe, okay, you've lost these D-line pieces. You've lost Trent McDuffie. Do you just go all in on defense on this draft like you did in 2022? And you take D-end at 9, D-tackle at 29, and then another cornerback at 40. Is it all about the defense this draft? I think there's a lot of different ways. This trade just changes things immensely. But I think one of the scenarios is, all right, we got a cushion here. And that's at the end of the first round where we normally pick, right? We can roll the dice a little bit on a running back at 9, but we really believe in this guy. He is quite literally one of the top 3 or 4 players in this draft. And they always talk about best player available. Well, this best player available and fits a need, and we do have a cushion at 29. Okay, I've just talked myself into it. There you go.
Kind of annoying, though, because I was somewhat excited to being like, after pick 10, I can kind of just relax a little and maybe go to bed early or something like that.
You
after
ever
pick 10.
can with Veach, though.
But I mean, would they have only with 6 picks? They're not going to trade back into the first round. Now it's like, oh
unless
god,
they
I gotta
save
wait.
that McDuffie trade for then.
Oh, I gotta wait till pick 29 again. Okay, here we go. Thanks a lot for that.
Hopefully, I'll be waiting in Pittsburgh because
appreciate it, you big jerks.
That put the stamp for Channel 41.
Yeah, that's true. Brett Veach said on Defending the Kingdom with Mitch Holtis, he was asked the draft as a whole, and Matt McMillan asked the draft as a whole, where are the positions of value, depth, things like that. And this is interesting from Jeremiah Love, or you say, well, maybe it's the second round or third round running back or something like that. He said, defensive line, especially defensive end in the first 3 rounds, is really deep. This is a really deep draft with defensive line, especially defensive end. There's some depth in wide receiver and corner, but it's a really lean draft at running back. It's like,
the more we talk, I think it's going to be Love, and then maybe a Howell slips to 29 or somebody else that you like.
But it's like first 3 rounds, there's some depth at defensive line, especially edge. Really lean at running back this year. You're just not going to be able to get a running back outside of, pick 9 or later. Who knows what it's going to be? But you could end up with a couple of different defensive linemen and an offensive playmaker weapon in the first 40 picks. That would be nice. Or maybe it does also give the leeway of drafting a right tackle. And people go, I don't want a right tackle at number 9. Well, not exactly overly enamored by it. But if you said, well, here's the pick at number 9, it's an offensive tackle, and you're going to have that guy and Simmons with the 3 guys at guard to guard for the next 3-4 years for Patrick Mahomes, okay, now what are you doing at 29 and 40 to address everything else because you feel like Mahomes is now protected for a while? Playmaker, defensive end, edge, whatever it might be.
The more we're getting excited about this draft, and I am now, especially after this move, but I worry more and more about this 2026 year because the Chiefs, their main concerns are at premium positions now. It's at cornerback. It's at wide receiver, right? It's at right tackle. And heck, quarterback is a concern, right? He's coming back off. He's coming off an ACL, so you have the most concern ever you've had at quarterback in the Patrick Mahomes era, and I worry about them having to take maybe another gap year here before they get back up and running.
They're going to go from high school and then work for a year, and then go to college.
Well, we saw it this year, just how small the margin of error is to slip from an 11-6 or 12-5 team to a 6-11 team. Just the bounce of a ball, some injuries here or there, some couple positions where you're not getting the production that you used to have. And then all of a sudden, bam, you're an afterthought. You're not even making the playoffs.
Yeah. We'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling, hanging out with Mick Schaefer, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. We'll talk some Kansas City Chiefs. Continue to do that. Mizzou, KU, they showed up the way that Trent McDuffie will show up in a Chiefs uniform.
K-State was always going to be the only one that won last night.
That's what everybody said, right?
Yes.
I mean, it's pretty obvious the one team that was going to find a way to get a victory last night was going to be the Wildcats. We can talk a little bit about that as well. More Zone coming up next.
You're in the zone with Jason Anderson on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
And now on Sports Radio 810 Sports Center.
This Sports Center update is brought to you by Conley Plumbing. Conley Plumbing Solutions is hosting a canned goods drive this March for harvesters. Have donations ready during your service call, and we'll deliver them. Conley Plumbing Solutions, proudly serving our community. The Chiefs are finalizing a trade that sends All-Pro cornerback Trent McDuffie to the Rams in exchange for this year's first-round draft pick, 29th overall, a 5th and 6th this year, and in 2027, a third-round draft pick. Kansas fell on the road last night, 70-60. Bill Self gets ejected in this one, getting back-to-back techs real quick. KU had offensive woes, going 21 of 72 from the field, good for 29% from the field. Missouri fell to Oklahoma 80-64 on the road. Mark Mitchell led the way with 17. He was 6 of 6 from the field.
Men, we all know how important sex is in a relationship, both for you and your partner. But erectile dysfunction ruins sex, which can often have serious impacts on your relationship as well. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health, and if ED is a problem in your life, you understand the impacts it has on you and the one you love. But I'm here to tell you that ED is a treatable condition, and almost without exception, you can have really good sex again. At Heartland Men's Health, we're experts in treating ED. We've treated tens of thousands of men with protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases, which means if you're like most guys, good sex will be the norm. You could even last up to an hour or more and bring a level of intimacy for you and your partner that might just astound you both. It's time to have really good sex again, so call us, just $99.
Mick, did you show up at work last night?
Did I show up?
Did you show up? Did you show up to work last night?
I did. I showed up in the afternoon. And I left last night.
But you did show up to work yesterday. Okay, so you had that over Mizzou and KU.
Reliable.
So, yeah.
Unlike these millennials, are you Gen Z or are you millennial? What are you?
Oh, I'm millennial. I'm 31.
I'm a boy.
Yeah, I'm an adult.
Okay, good job.
Mick and I are
These Gen Zers are like, you know what? I'm gonna quiet quit, or I'm gonna I'll show up whenever. Right? When is my shift? Yeah.
Mick and I are X gonna give it to you.
Gonna give it to you.
X gonna give it to you.
Gonna give it to you.
I'm gonna show up and apologize about it. I'll say sorry. I'm here. I know you don't like me, but like I'm here. I'm trying my best, guys. I'm sorry.
You're not Canadian. What are you talking
I'm
about?
sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Oops. I'm sorry.
Sorry, we made you go to overtime, eh? Next time we lose earlier. Hey, sorry
I need
about
some
that.
ranch, but sorry. Oops. Let me sneak on by you and get the ranch.
So you showed up to work, so that's more than what KU and MU did last night.
100%.
Yeah. So that was nice for them to just.
That was. I'm trying to decipher what was more of a disappointing loss.
Yes.
I think it's a little bit. Mizzou never made
West Virginia
a run. West Virginia. Yes, that was the most.
Dude,
give that game 20 more seconds. K-State loses it.
Oh, dude, they were up like 21-19.
They had a 21-0 run, and they're like, "We're good, right?"
No DJ Haggerty.
Oh my God! Here's the deal: all these teams play better without their bucket getter.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Mizzou that was so awful. They never made a run, and then KU did. They got it to 3, and they got it to 2.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, they're gonna win this. I mean, I've never seen 26 offensive rebounds and six second chance points.
Yeah. 25 offensive rebounds, 6 second chance points.
Are you dry shaving me? And they got a bad whistle last night. It was crazy. They let everything go on the floor, and they were ticky-tack with the coaches.
That's true. Which, by the way, the second tee, not for Bill, so the third tee technically, but the second coach to be teed up in Jacques Vaughn, Curtis Townsend stands up to give coaching to the defense.
Oh, and they head over there and tell him to sit down.
But Curtis Townsend is now moved over.
Yeah.
So he is now. So Jacques Vaughn can stand up and give defensive assignments. They've allowed the head coach can be standing, and then another coach can help out. They've been more lenient on that.
Yeah.
So Curtis Townsend does it with Jacques Vaughn standing up, and now it's he comes over, and Townsend's like, all right, and Jacques Vaughn, you could tell, goes, what about them? Their whole bench is standing up.
Yes.
Boop. Technical. Good God, really?
I want to believe that Townsend or somebody lobbed some sort of other comment there, and that's what he heard.
Townsend was like apologetic.
Oh, words. They hurt the refs' feelings.
Well, I mean, listen, there's a line with words, absolutely.
But Townsend looked apologetic. He was like, and he sat down. But Jacques Vaughn was like, whoa, you're going to talk to their whole bench is standing up the whole game, and you're mad at one guy standing up, who's now my second in command.
Sermon's made a beeline around guys to catch what Self was saying, to just double tap him right there.
I just love.
Never seen that.
The guy in front of Bill Self was listening. The first guy that teed him up was then hearing Bill Self out. And was like,
I thought Sermons did too right away.
Sermons came over for the second one, and then kicked him out.
And then Bill Self brought them both over and said, I'm, again, not a great lip reader. But
didn't have to be. I think you could be an average one.
Will just starts laughing and goes, both of you two are full of bleep.
Said over and over.
Ship.
Yeah.
That's what I got to. You guys are full of shit.
But I mean, in fairness, though, the ref blew a call. He knows he blew it. He doesn't want to hear Bill Self tell me he blew it. That's obviously why he got thrown out, because accountability.
Usually,
that's right.
Usually, you get the most mad when you know somebody else is right about you.
Yes. I think that's what it was. I think he knew that Bill Self was right, and I got fooled by a flop.
But that's what makes the Doug Sermons part of it so ridiculous. Is that ref that blew the call? Yes, he teed up Bill, and Bill said, "Probably deserved it. I was outside of the box." But he wasn't giving Bill the second tee. He was sitting there in front, and he was shaking his head, and Bill was upset, and Sermons walked over and gave him the second tee.
I don't know. I mean, Sermons and Self go way back, and these veteran officials, they've got to know, okay, what this means if I'm going to let my emotions take over here, which is what Sermons did. And I cannot believe that happened. I've never.
Will you play?
I don't know if I've ever seen a guy get kicked on the first half.
Sermons didn't want to hear Bill Self's sermon.
There you go.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Let's play clip number 2. This was Bill Self post game.
Oh,
and
I haven't heard any of this.
It starts off with them just saying, all right, Bill, so what happened in getting the double T?
Well, I argued, Darren's foul, and I think he gets help all the time, but I argued that, and then the first one, that's fine. I mean, I was out of the box. Second one, I was still out of the box, so I guess that's the reason why he gave it to me, because Sermons gave it to me, because I was still out of the box and didn't retreat in the timely manner in which he wanted me to. But yeah, that was it. I certainly was not intentional whatsoever.
What was your perspective on, I guess, just watching the remainder of the game, seeing the guys come back but not be able to close it out?
I actually thought we tried. I was able to watch it on computer in the locker room, and I thought we tried. But whenever you put yourself in that big a hole, your mistakes are magnified a lot more than what they are if you're playing within striking range all the time. And so we did a lot of good things. What did we do? Cut it to 2?
Yeah, cut it to 2.
And then we missed the front end. The Flory had that layup. There were some things that happened that just not on them, but there were some things that happened, and then the law percentages prevailed, and I think not. I couldn't be mistaken, but I think we should have a defensive rebound down 3. And it ends up being a foul, and then they make a 3 on a side out or whatever. Those are big plays. And what were we, down 2 when Johnson goes on a 5-0 run himself? I mean, so we're flat-footed defending the perimeter there. I think there was opportunities for us to actually put ourselves in a real position to have a chance to win, and we just didn't make enough plays. But I thought our effort was pretty good the second half.
I know obviously you weren't there at that point, but Jock got a technical a little bit after you left. Do you know what that was about? I know you guys talked about
Jock's a relatively mild-mannered guy, but I'm not saying he didn't deserve it. But I think it was a situation in which we all could have handled some situations better. But it was a pretty temperamental crew tonight.
Pretty temperamental crew tonight.
Is that gonna fine? Is that good enough?
I think Bill Self there.
I would have gone. Finally said something. I was ready for him to go nuclear.
But he was because he. I think he was trying to think before he got into Jacques Vaughn's. What do I say here? What do I say here that I really want to say without being fined? Because I've already said. The first one I was out of the box, but the second one I guess I didn't retreat in a timely manner that he would have liked.
How was the second one? Hurley the most calm coach there last night?
And Hurley was upset for Bill Self.
I don't think he was. They were jumping to that conclusion. I don't think he had seen both technicals. He saw them all out on the court still. I think he was championing or campaigning for a T or another T, and he hadn't seen it be.
Because when Hurley first started doing that is when you heard the whistle, and I think he was saying, "How is he? He's at half court. What are we doing?"
Well, first of all, what are you supposed? You're supposed to teleport after the first tee back to the sideline.
If you don't
you're supposed to turn and tail and run as fast as you can.
It's like a combine drill. It's a combine drill.
It's a cornerback backpedaling.
Here it is. You get like one more comment, and you have your assistant push you back in there, and that's how it works. And we all go on live our lives.
How about the OSU or ASU arena?
OSU did get a win last night.
ASU's arena
with the
smoke as he's walking out was all-timer.
Pretty good.
That was
tip of the cap on that one.
But yeah, it was a wild game you had. Which assistant coach was it with Trey White that they were getting into it, pushing each other?
I wonder if he thought Trey White was from the bench because Trey White was standing in the corner.
Yeah,
he was all the way in the corner, and it was like his right foot was out of bounds when that happened.
Gotcha.
And you can see because I'm looking in the background. I'm going, did Trey White leave the bench?
That's what they might have been looking at.
He was standing next to teammates, and then he starts running. I think he looked over, saw Trey White running, and thought he's coming from the bench. He's going to get kicked out.
Maybe
of the
they
game.
were playing the Alabama defense of just putting 4 guys out there. Did you see that?
Yeah,
that was, and they
that's
almost
my
got
guess.
over back.
Yeah, that was
Bama
my
defense we've seen all year.
That's my guess because I saw it happening. I'm like, because they even said that they immediately elevated it to flagrant 1.
Yeah, then they looked.
They were just looking to see if anybody
left
the bench because I think Kansas might have thought that Trey White left the bench because he was standing so far in the corner and almost out of bounds because he's sort of walking when that happened.
I felt you could have teed up an Arizona State player who came right into El Marco there. Some high hands there. And I feel like it was a hard foul, wasn't a dirty foul. I feel like he was trying to hurt him. Former UMKC player, by the way, Mukeba.
Yeah, right.
It was a very hard fall, but I don't think it was dirty. I think he was going for the ball.
Immediately, El Marco was like trying to help him out.
If it was dirty, I think it'd be flagrant.
You're going that fast, yeah. You see the ball, you swipe for it, the ball moves. That can easily happen. When you're in the air, though, it can be dangerous. And
Kugler brought up a great point, and I've said this to my son, and we watch it, and if you're going to foul him, foul him. Come on, a guy's going up for a layup, and you just tap him, and then you pull your hands away, and he lays it up. If you're going to foul him, make sure he doesn't get the shot off. Well, now it's a flagrant one.
You know what's a little interesting about the entire situation? Shouldn't have mattered. He double dribbled.
He did double dribble.
Great point. He dribbled 3 times, and I believe one was behind his back.
He dribbled behind his back,
and then grabbed it.
Then grabbed it. Two hands.
Then
God
dribbled.
dang it, man. It's like all these basketball officials think nobody wants to see a violation called. We're not going to call anything. Guys just drag their pivot foot. They change it right. You ever watch PJ Haggerty with the ball?
Oh, dude.
That guy is on skates.
3-point shooters now. When it used to have to be to go 1-2, and now they do 1, 2, 3. It's not
being like the
doing
old
here.
guy in the room, but I'm like, this is a huge advantage for
I'll be the old guy in the room.
guys.
You know what? As a 31-year-old, I will now be old guy. Again, take down a large part of the nets at baseball games.
3 times. Were they all 3 gather dribbles, including the one behind his back?
The one on his hip?
God dang,
But
man.
the whole part about that is, and watching it, and officials, that, KU didn't show up. Mizzou didn't show up, so it wasn't about the officials. They could have done a lot to control their own destiny in that one. But the double dribble happens. They get the flagrant one. They shoot the free throws. They get the ball. That possession, the dude gets to the lane and travels and then kicks it out to the 3-point line after traveling.
Oh, he dragged
and he bangs the 3.
Yeah.
That's 7 points. That wouldn't have happened if you just simply called the double
They just
dribble.
don't want to do. Everybody in the stands every time is like traveling, and the 3 on the floor. Like, no, we don't want to call
What
that.
are they? The refs smoky? I mean, come on now.
It's worse.
There are rules.
It's worse
This isn't
in
dumb.
college than the NBA. It really is.
I also saw something last
Market
night.
0, dude.
I also saw something last night, and we're just having fun at how bad refs are, which is fine, in different ways. I mean, the college basketball refs, my issue is, and I talked about this in the first hour, you say you want to have point of emphasis on certain things, and then you reward the behavior that you're trying to eliminate. They point of emphasis, freedom of movement. Then you reward the guy that's not allowing Darren Peterson freedom of movement. They want to emphasize flopping out of the game. Then Sean Phillips reaches back, touches the guy in the jaw, and he whoa! Flagrant one.
I thought they might actually call a flagrant one for the flop. I thought I thought
you want to get the hook and hold out of the game. Sean Phillips' arm is here. The guy grabs his arm and hooks it and holds it, and they say, well, there was a hook but no hold. And I also that part of it, where just if you want to litigate things out of the game, then do that. But I also have never seen a ref tech up a coach while the other team is getting ready to shoot a layup.
Yeah,
and those points don't count.
And they don't count.
What was that last night?
Yes. T.O. was in the air to shoot the layup when they blew the whistle to tee him up, and they didn't count the basket.
He was
laying
flabbergasted because that helped. That helped Oklahoma.
You let play go on when there's an injured guy until it stopped.
It helped Oklahoma. But also, wide open lay, they're like, you know what? We're going to hurt Oklahoma by helping them because that basket no longer counts, and he misses the front of the free throw.
Yeah, he made one free throw. Then they didn't get anything on that possession, so they got 1 point out of that. Would have been 2 points. But here's the thing that I didn't realize about as soon as the technical's called, the play ends. If T.O.'s going for a layup and an Oklahoma player pushes Sean Phillips in the back and fouls, as long as he's in the shooting motion, that bucket counts. Yeah. Then you assess the foul.
Correct.
But not a technical on the coach?
Well, because the dumbassery of college basketball refs is unmatched. It's unparalleled. I honestly,
these guys, and they work every single day, and absolutely the travel and all that takes a toll on them.
It gets to them.
Got to them last night.
And what we're saying is, Michael, enough blaming the refs for KU losing and Mizzou losing. It wasn't the refs. Understand? Maybe if KU and MU actually showed up and played a little basketball last night instead of no-showing and saying, I don't really want to be here, Michael. It's not all about the refs. Sometimes you do what you can to actually win the games.
Is Jaden Stone a secret double agent for the other team? Because the last 6 games...
the first half he was.
The first 6 possessions, it looked like a 9-year-old out there. I was...
No, my son
can dribble.
Yeah,
can dribble.
He can catch the ball in transition.
He can catch the ball, and then, the second you touch it, you apparently have to shoot. There's a rule where if you touch the ball, it has to go up. But him and Bryson Tiller, to me, have They were the X factors earlier on in the season where they were aggressive, looked really good. But the last 5 games
Yeah,
or
I don't
so,
remember anything from Tiller much.
but ever since Arizona, Stone and Tiller have really, and same time frame too. They've gone from being the second offensive option for the team to non-existent and a detriment to society.
Kansas 2-4 since that Arizona game. Offensively, they're in the mid-90s offensive efficiency in that time frame. It's the 4th worst effective field goal percentage for Bill Self since he's been the KU coach. It's the lowest ranked in the country.
Last night was missing shots. Usually you don't lose games because you miss shots. They had some early turnover issues, but, missing bunnies.
Arizona, right around the rim.
Floyd Badunga could have had 40 on a regular night if he makes layups.
Darren Peterson was 3 of 18.
Oh.
And Mizzou last night.
He settles for too many threes. I'm going to see him get to the rim more because he's so good at it.
He
settles for too many threes.
He got 2 of the second chance points after getting blocked.
He did, yeah.
Shot. But then it was nice for Mizzou to say, I know you guys are excited about how we're playing, but just a reminder, we can suck too. Okay, I just want you to know that we can also really suck.
We're going to let you down.
Mizzou and about 45 other teams in the tournament, right? Basically, that's how they are.
I know we're building and building and building, but just a reminder, don't get too comfortable, guys, because we could do this on any given night.
That's why we don't need to expand, because we don't need the West Virginias in the tournament.
No.
Right? The tier below these teams that are like, okay, we'll knock somebody off once out of every 5 games, as opposed to a Mizzou's going to 3-2 in that stretch.
Again,
KU might be in that group.
East or West 3 or 2. I don't know.
When I die, I want Mizzou to be my pallbearer so they can lay me down
Let you down.
You screwed it up.
Well, they can lay me down too. On a bed of roses.
You've really laid us down in this segment.
Yeah.
This is brought to you by the number 9.
You know what, Sterling? I want you bury me upside down so you
bury
can kiss my ass.
Bury the segment.
That segment can do that.
Bury.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy, Mick Schaefer hanging out with us, presented by Advent Health Sports Park at Blue Hawk. Did you see the throwback on NBC last night? NBA.
Oh, it's really cool.
On NBC, did you see the throwback? Did you hear Bob Costas throwing some things back, too? Let's go ahead and listen into Bob Costas as they were reminiscing about back in the day, about a few things. Here is Bob Costas. It's in there. It's in the zone folder. Should be clip 3, I think, is in there.
It wasn't on the show sheet.
Well, then I guess it doesn't exist. It should be in there. Is it in there, Michael? It'd be today's. Got it. You see it now? Okay, great. So let's set it up. You know, the NBA on NBC did the throwback thing last night.
It was awesome, Jason.
It was really cool.
What did it sound like?
I don't know. Bob Costas had some things to say that he probably regretted immediately, but let's go ahead and take a listen, everybody.
Kelly graduated that weekend.
Kind enough to let me see Kelly graduate.
And I worked out with you guys too.
What did I say?
I think you said Enberg.
Oh,
yeah.
Two great
yes.
dicks.
Yes.
D-E-D.
I think someone's going to cut that off, and it's not going to sound right. It's not going to sound right.
Two great Richards, known as Dick, with the last name beginning with an E. Two D-Es.
Yes. And thank you, Dick Ebersol.
Yes. And thank you, whoever edits that out. Fox for 3, trying to change the subject.
In this day of social media, good luck, Coach.
I'm toast.
At least he knew what it is. I'm toast.
He's getting a part.
And it's not his fault. There were two dicks there. They were talking
about. Can they cut that out and play it?
Yeah. Him and Bonnie Bernstein get an apartment together now.
Right.
Can they? Can someone cut that and play it on a radio show? I said, can somebody cut that and play on a radio show?
Oh, they can. Thank you, Bob. Thank you for the permission to go ahead and do that. Dick Ebersol, you said Dick Enberg. Oh, yeah, but two great dicks. I am toast.
No, cut that. I'm saying cut that.
Why?
For Jason saying that.
But I'm just repeating what Bob said.
Yeah, but it won't sound like that on Friday.
Yeah, but it's just two guys who are named Richard that go by Dick.
Should we blame Bob Costas for saying that?
Can we?
Should we?
Can we? Can we blame him?
I don't know. I thought they had the.
I thought it was ready to go, too.
It's not his fault.
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can. Yes, we can do it. Is it Bob's fault, though?
It's Bob's fault.
I don't know. It's just what we've been talking about.
Yes, they can. It is just the point we were making.
It's not his fault. He was correcting somebody else who was talking about a completely different dick, and he was trying to tell him which one was the right dick.
Which one was it?
Ebersol.
Ebersol.
Epsom salt.
Archie Eversol?
Yep.
Epsom salt.
We ready.
Not Enberg. So, yeah, they had the throwback there. And
Two
they did a lot of
Dick E's.
Two
great Dick E's.
Did a lot of reminiscing
Yeah.
last night. But the graphics were amazing.
Wasn't it?
What were they reminiscing about?
So cool. They were reminiscing about basketball.
How many years? They change the graphics every year now, but I feel like they had those specific graphics for like a decade.
Oh, it was so long. It was so long that they had those graphics, man. It was great. Watching a little bit about, you know what? Watching those graphics and having a throwback while throwing up watching Mizzou and Kansas.
Yes.
Because that was gross basketball last night. Trent McDuffie, you can throw one up for Brett Veach, who came away with an absolute haul that I asked when we first saw the compensation. I said, I would have wondered what the reaction would have been if you said they got pick 29 from the Rams for Trent McDuffie. Oh, okay. I thought maybe they're going to get like a second and a third.
I was thrilled with just that.
Yeah, they got first, fifth, sixth, and a third. A first rounder, a fifth rounder, a sixth rounder, and a third rounder.
They traded
for
one
Trent
guy
McDuffie.
for 4.
Yeah, and saved $13 million immediately against the cap.
What are they at the cap? Underneath the cap now.
What are Rams fans' reactions?
I don't know. That's a good question, because I did read yesterday about one site that covers the Rams that said, do not trade for Trent McDuffie. And
I mean, they still have their number 1 first-round draft pick. They have Trent McDuffie. I mean, I feel like both parties should be fairly happy.
Plenty of money to
Yeah.
spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got about 5.7 in cap space, and they haven't cut Taylor yet, so that would give them about